Hello, everybody. Greetings, Kooplings. Welcome back to play some video games. There's a lot of us here tonight. It's going to be an interesting show. This is our annual. This is the second time we've done this. Biannual. Favorite games of the year podcast, our holiday podcast, our Merry Christmas podcast, where we bring everybody from the team together and we're going to talk to you about our favorite games of the year. But before we do, I at least want to give everybody a chance to weigh in on what is fucking up my life currently today. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go for it. All right. So as you guys know, Jack and Melissa are scheduled to leave for New Orleans tomorrow. They fly to Louisiana to be with the family, and I was supposed to keep Victoria. So today we were supposed to go to my family's Christmas party. So we wake up and we all take COVID tests. And the kids are positive.
Oh, God.
Oh.
So we then informed the church because that's where they were scheduled to sing today and the Advent stuff. And they start testing the other kids in the choir, and they are positive. And then we start alerting all of our friends, and the kids across the street are positive, and the school bus driver is positive, and the kids down the road are positive.
God.
All the kids are positive. Like every kid we know, every child that we know. Victoria's best friends are positive. Jack's best friends are positive. Everybody's positive.
That could be a problem.
It's like the reverse Children of the Corn out here. It's like if you're under 16, you're all positive.
Oh no!
And the crazy thing is, y'all wouldn't have known if you guys weren't about to leave and you had them tested.
Exactly.
So we all took extra tests just to confirm it and confirm the kids have it. The adults do not yet have it now. Hopefully you don't ever. So my day has been full of canceling travel plans and getting Lysol and all that jazz as we quarantine our kids and animals to their rooms. And so they will not be going anywhere. Nobody will be going anywhere for that matter. Nobody is going anywhere. We're just staying home. But it's been interesting. Even my wife's boss came to our house today to drop off her Christmas present. And they went home. After we told them the story, they tested their kids. Their kids are positive. Like,
what in the
world? Sweet Christmas.
We don't know a kid. We don't know a child that attends school that isn't positive. Like, we don't know one. Like, we're burning phone books, and every child is positive. Like, something must have.
That is crazy.
Something's gone crazy here in the school system here in this last week. But
are they requiring masks in school, or is that long gone?
No, it's optional. My kids wear masks, but it's optional. So I don't mean to worry anybody. Victoria's fine. She's a bit sniffly. All of our kids have vaccinations. It's just been a hell of a ride, right? So if I feel maybe ill-prepared for the show, that's why.
I should actually probably take a test now that I think about it, because
now that you've spoken to me, if you've seen me, you should probably take a test.
I mean, I've gone to the movies twice and they were packed.
Well, I mean, if you're seeing what's going on with the NBA and the NFL, like it's not great right now. So what a great way to kick this off. All right. Our 2021 games of the year, favorite games of the year. 2021 kicked off all about COVID. And as we close on the year, I think it's going to close all about COVID. Like, I'm not sure if you guys seen the projections for January.
No, it is not good.
Super not good.
I just don't want to still be talking about this Christmas next year, but at this rate.
I mean, we're definitely going to be talking about it.
We're going to be talking about it next.
There'll be a new variant sometime next year.
At this point,
all the Greek letters.
At this point, when people are still going, we have to learn to live with it. I'm like, learn to live with it means mitigate the risks, not accept millions of people dying from it every year.
Learn to live with it like the flu means getting your vaccine.
Yeah.
That's how we learn to live with it.
Everyone, get your vaccines. Get your boosters.
Get your vaccine. Get your damn booster.
Speaking of boosters, since I told everybody I wasn't eligible,
get boosted?
No. I can book starting tomorrow. So doing that ASAP.
Go for it.
Good.
Nice. Get that DLC.
Yeah.
Get that extra content. Get that in there.
I like that.
Extra microchip in your brain. Make sure the
I've got options. I've already got
sell
that.
so many more
I'll
boosters if they were like, it's COVID DLC, guys.
I like that. They need to market it like that.
$20.
Could you imagine if a game company like gave away DLC or like a game or something with your vaccine? You know, they're like, get a code. Final Fantasy 14. Get a code.
Sign me up. Let's go.
Okay. So first, I'd like to just hear from you guys. Hopefully everybody's doing nice for Christmas, all in the spirit, get into the plans. And I'd like to hear what everybody has to say about just the year on gaming in general. Like, how has 2021 made you feel here this year? And let's start with the Grand Poobah.
God damn it.
Grand Poobah.
Well, you're the Grand Poobah. You got to go first.
I mean, how could we start anywhere else?
Merry effing Christmas. I was like, I wasn't prepared for none of this. I was like laying down.
We brought in Delvin to get a group picture, and he decided to stick around.
You're our replacement for our replacement for our replacement for the show.
Right.
See, I got tricked because they had the right person ask me to stay on. like if Dan would have said, like, all right, I'm out. I would have just immediately ended the call.
You act like I would have asked you to be here.
Yeah, he actively fought against it.
We love you, Delvin.
Love you guys too. So, what I've been playing this year that I enjoyed so much, trying to think. This has been a weird year for me in terms of video games because it's like I don't feel like anything like blew me away. But there's been stuff that I felt like was really, really good. Like I think Guardians of the Galaxy is really, really good. I feel like Halo's really, really good. I don't think I had that one game that I felt like breathtakingly amazing that I had to play. Returnal felt like it was really, really good. People tell me that It Takes Two is good, but they're requiring that I play with someone else. So I don't know about that, Chief. But I don't know. This has been a year. I don't want to say it's been a bad year for gaming because it definitely hasn't been. It's been the year of just really, really good games, and that's always a good thing. Like I don't think I've played a really, really bad game this year, and I think that's kind of very positive. Now, on the movie side of thing, mostly everything sucked.
Wow,
jeez,
a lot of terrible movies. Thank God Spider-Man came out because if it wasn't for Spider-Man, this year would have been a flop. But
get the Matrix next week.
I hope that's good. It looks good.
I won't be going to see
There's
it.
no way it can be.
They just
you
literally.
didn't like Shang-Chi?
That was good.
Shang-Chi was pretty good.
Shang-Chi
Pretty
was
good.
great.
That was pretty good.
It's Shang-Chi. If you've heard Kevin Feige speak, it's
Oh my God.
Shang-Chi.
Same thing. No matter at this point. Like,
You know what we're talking about.
Actually,
I didn't like Returnals. I didn't like Eternals. I didn't like. Wasn't a fan of Mortal Kombat. Wasn't a fan of a lot of the movies that came out this year. But
Mortal Kombat came out this year?
Yeah, it
That was
did,
just-
and I
Yeah.
still
God,
haven't
that
seen
feels
it.
like
I still
so
haven't
long
seen
ago.
it.
when you think about it, last year ended with most of us getting new consoles, but like most people not.
yeah,
And then you fast forward, this
Yeah.
has been a year since then.
And
People
most
still
of
ain't getting consoles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's still a thing. So
yeah.
I mean, I didn't get my Series X until what, almost a month and a half ago at this point.
Mhm.
So
They're still hard to get.
I will say this: I'm seeing a lot of Series S's in the stores.
yeah,
a lot.
so am
I mean, I can buy those on the
Mhm.
regular. Like, it's a common thing to see those in the stores. I'm starting to see Switch OLEDs in the stores a lot, so that's good. Still not seeing PS5 or Xbox Series X's, but things are
And
picking
you
up.
won't.
they're
Yeah,
gone
not
as
with
soon as
Christmas.
they're there.
out with Christmas. What about you, Garrett? 2021 on gaming.
I more or less like Delvin. I have a list here. I have
He
5
starts, he's
games.
like,
I have 5 games. I have 5 honorable mentions. But man, I mean, I really haven't had too much time playing games this year. Of course, with my situation.
Yeah, but
But
busy
other
year
than
to
that,
be
you know,
here.
yeah. Other than that, like going through the Game Awards, seeing all the games that it's like I've played or I have seen impressions of, I'm like, man, there's not a game that really stood out to me. There's been a lot of great games, a lot of great JRPGs, like probably like 7 to 10 really good JRPGs in there. It's just there's not one that really blew me away. And there's a lot of games I'm looking forward to next year. So I think next year is going to be really heavy hitting with a lot of games. But this year, I mean, I'll mention what my top games are, and they're really good. It's just that it didn't really blow me away at all. So
Gotcha.
that's where I'm at. Yeah.
What about you, Bex?
Yeah, I feel a lot of the same way. And I remember at the beginning of this year, we talked about how this is going to be an awesome year for
Yeah.
Nintendo. This is when, all the PlayStation games are going to start rolling in. And it didn't
Nope.
quite happen, I think, the way that we wanted
No.
it to. And I feel like what Garrett said, looking ahead to next year, which I know we'll talk about that a little bit more. I have really high hopes for the games that I like coming next year. The games this year that I played, I think that there were a few really, really good ones. And then a lot of the ones that I was expecting to like a lot more, I just, like Delvin said, like they were good games. Nothing that like truly, really wowed me. So the games that are at the top of my list are like the best that like, I really, really enjoyed them. But even like, rounding out my top five, my number 5, 4, even 3 spot are wouldn't probably have made a list on some other years.
Okay.
But overall, I mean, given I think that this is the year that we're feeling the effects of game companies and COVID, given that this is starting to where we're feeling that impact for it, I don't think it was a bad year. I think that there were a lot of enjoyable games.
Nice. Haley?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Delvin, Garrett, and Rebecca that like it's not there's not really been anything that's like blown me away, but like it has been a good year, not just in like games that were new to this year. Like it's been a good year for remakes or re-releases. Like we got Alan Wake, we got Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, which got new DLC this year, which is wild and made Kevin mad for some reason. But and then like we had some really good games, and I've got a list. But I'm like others have said, just mostly excited for stuff that's coming next year. So
that game hits close to home for Kev.
Yeah.
What?
So almost bankrupted his state.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why he hates that's
The most
game.
insane thing. Yeah.
That whole studio regarding
still
like
alive.
38 studios is ridiculous.
Right. That's where that all stems from. Dev?
So I guess I'll be the outlier. I had a great year in games.
I'm glad you did.
I had a couple of games that totally blew me away. And yeah, I've got a nice list here, but I had a really, really good year with video games. I'm out from under my Destiny habit. I'm a recovering addict here. So I've been
Gonna be
venturing
right
out
back
playing
into
some
it.
more games. Oh, I'm definitely right back in this.
You need a pin.
January, man.
I mean, literally, you're
1
about
month
to, like,
off
just,
Destiny.
he's literally about to do this in February. So
Oh yeah. No, we've already started. We're having a slow trickle effect of Destiny right now. But
no.
yeah, but I mean, even last year, I played a lot more games. I've been playing a lot more games than just Destiny, just finding more time to play stuff. And this year, I had a blast with video games. A lot of different games that I enjoyed. I mean, all throughout the year. So I'm still excited to finish a couple of those this year, and then yeah, I got a list of stuff that I'm really excited for next year as well. So it's been a great year in gaming for me.
Our most anticipated, I think, is going to be a lengthy segment because I got a lot of stuff written.
Yeah,
down.
so do
Same.
I will try to join you here, my ride or die brother, and I really
right.
like this year as well. When I look back at my gaming time, I've got some serious misses for sure, but the ones that hit well. And as I look at my top 5 and then my top 10, I'm like, man, I really like these games. They were a lot of fun. Don't think it was my favorite year ever. I don't know if anybody would say that about this year, but it had a lot of quality. Like there was multiple releases. I try to remember back to last year, and I can't even remember what I said on this show last year, to be honest with you, because I feel like the only thing that comes to mind when I think of last year in gaming is Valhalla. It's just like that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that I really remember from that year. Whereas this year, I feel like I remember like 6 or 7, 8 things. So I didn't really have a hard time making my top 5. All right. So here's how the run of show is going to go. Obviously, we have a ton of people here. We're going to try to make sure this isn't a 3-hour podcast like we recorded a couple days ago. So we're going to run off our honorable mentions. You do not speak about the honorable mentions because if somebody else has your game on their list, that'll be the time that we talk about it. So if your games get mentioned, we're going to run them down 5 to 1. If your game gets mentioned, that is the time to speak up. That means everybody should be able to get through them pretty quickly. We'll have to just go around and around and around 5 times. So I'll start while everybody else readies their list. My honorable mentions for my top favorite games this year are Metroid Dread, just missing the cut, Ratchet and Clank, Halo Infinite, and Dusk. Those are my honorable mentions outside of my top 5. What about you, Haley?
Honorable mentions are Hitman 3, Ratchet, And that's about it. That's what I got
Okay.
for honorable mentions.
Delvin,
Mine's simple. Deathloop.
Deathloop, out of the cut.
Out of the cut, yeah. Because I didn't finish it. So I don't want to add it in there if I didn't finish it.
Garrett,
Yeah, honorable mentions. I got Metroid Dread as well, City Skylines, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Monster Hunter Stories 2. Those were my honorable mentions.
that's not even a bad list. Like, if that was your list, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Dev,
Yep. Mine are Metroid Dread as well, Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, Deathloop, and Outriders.
wow, all of them out.
Wow.
Wow, I would have been taking bets that all of those would have been in, actually. Like, if we had done odds. What about you, Rebecca?
Okay. My honorable mentions are Mario Party Superstars, Deltarune Chapter 2, Let's Build a Zoo, and Eastward, which I only played a little bit of it, but I want to shout it out anyway. And can I say 3 that didn't come out this year that I played for the first time that I really loved? We don't have
Absolutely.
to talk about
Yeah.
So I played for the first time this year Until Dawn,
Nice.
Blaster Master
Nice.
Zero,
Not as nice.
and for the first time ever this year, I beat completely the original Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Love that
Nice.
game.
Awesome. Great game.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. I'll have Rebecca kick us off with your number 5.
Okay. So my number 5 might be surprising. Maybe not. I don't know. Is Skyward Sword HD, because I feel like I was able to see this game in a new light with the remastered version because it fixed almost every problem that I had with the original game, which I loved back when it originally came out 10 years ago. The big part of that being the motion controls. I didn't think that this game would ever release without the motion controls, with how ingrained it was into the mechanics and the gameplay. And not only were they able to find out a way to make this game work with traditional controls, but I think they did a heck of a job doing that. And it made the game so much more enjoyable for me. I felt like the first time I played it, a lot of it was such a chore, and I loved the story of the game and the characters, but like there were just parts of the mechanics originally that I could not get past, and that made it, kind of a subpar Zelda game for me. So I think, this makes my list just because I think it's a remaster done right. They did everything right with what I wanted them to fix in this game, and I was able to finally, really enjoy this game for what it should have been the first time. And so that's why it makes my number 5. And it probably
Nice.
won't make anyone else's list because, it's a remaster for a Zelda game. I know, Haley, you said that you had a lot of remasters this year that you thought were good.
One is on my list, but
Okay,
I'm not gonna
okay.
spoil, so.
Yeah.
I think it was great. I really enjoyed
Mhm.
the artistic upgrades that the game got. I think it really held up visually, which is really,
Yeah.
really nice. I was impressed with how they pulled off the motion controls. I was sure that when it was going, I always thought it would get remade. I always thought it'd get remade without the motion controls. I honestly thought they just dumbed down the whole thing, which in hindsight, maybe I kind of wish they did, or at least had the option. Yeah, I didn't finish it. It didn't stick with me as much, but it's very good. And I know a lot of people are really happy to see it.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything on Zelda?
I only
Okay.
played the first part of it. I liked it a lot from what I played.
Yeah.
The
All right, let's
beginning
go.
is a little slow, but it's a good game. It holds
Oh,
up.
it's fantastic. So we'll just go clockwise. Dev, you're up. Number 5.
Number 5 is Axiom Verge, which I'm pretty sure is on no one else's list.
Nice.
Y'all know I love Metroidvanias, and this is like the Metroid game until we got Dread. So I really, really enjoyed the backtracking, the story. I played it a lot faster than I had even anticipated. Like I was done with the game thinking I was still had a whole lot more left to do. I was like, oh my God, I'm done with this already? Ugh, I just flew through it. And that for me is always a sign of a game that I'm having a lot of fun with, when I just don't really even stop to put it down and I'm just plowing through it. It was just fantastic. I loved like searching for everything, just the whole idea of the Metroidvania, trying to find, how do I get over there? There's something over there. What's that? Like I love that type of gameplay, and this game, the Axiom Verge series, just does it really, really well. Also, the story is batshit crazy, which is also something I enjoy. I love weird ass sci-fi games, and this one is like Inception. It's like you're inside of a biome inside of a biome inside of some other weird biome, and it's just crazy. I'm really excited for part 3 because they leave it open, so there's definitely got to be a part 3, something that actually is going to link 1 and 2 together. So really excited. They changed the combat this one. Like Axiom Verge 1 was way more of a shooter. This one was melee focused. And you also had all these other weird abilities, but your main way of attacking things was all melee, which was really good for me, having just come off playing like Ghost of Tsushima and really enjoying a lot of melee heavy games. This just kind of fit right what I was looking for at the time, and just had an absolute blast with it.
Nice.
Cool.
Any other words for Axiom Verge?
I mean, I played the first Axiom Verge this year as well on Vita a little bit on the bus, and that the creator, whoever the lone guy who's
Tom
building that game,
Yeah.
amazing. I was just like,
Amazing,
man,
yeah.
he created like the storyline and the puzzles and the
The music,
Metroidvania.
everything.
Oh man, it's just really, really good, and it runs really well on Vita. So
I still have to
Nice.
play
Go
it,
for it.
but I've heard so many good things, and that makes me want to play it even more, Dev.
It's so good.
Well, Dev, I tried to play Axiom Verge this year, and I didn't like it, and I stopped.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Boo.
expect that. I wouldn't expect anything else from you.
I think I have Axiom Verge 1. I've just never played it.
You should.
Garrett, number 5.
my number 5 is Eastward, which barely goes into the list. Now, I have not finished this game. This is actually a long game. It's probably like 30 to 40 hours gameplay, which I was very surprised about. But I'm a good ways in, and I had to drop out for Metroid Dread. But I really, really enjoyed of what I played of this game. I was actually surprised a lot of people didn't play this game, and I was very surprised it never got nominated for any category in the
It's
Game
on my
Awards.
list of games
Yeah.
that I didn't get to this year.
Got it. Yes. So yeah, Eastward is like, a 2D action adventure based puzzler. It reminds me a lot about, the 2D Legend of Zelda or like Earthbound. Has that charm, has those characters. I love the two interaction characters in their interactions, John and Sam, a lot. And it's just about their journey, their story throughout this world. And this world is so realized. It's very weird. It reminds me a lot of Miyazaki films a lot. It's just a lot of imaginary figures together. There's groups and communities. Yeah, I just really am jamming with this game. So for people out there who are into like 2D classic puzzler type of stuff, really great animations, really good puzzles, I highly recommend Eastward because it's really good so far, and I plan to finish it sometime next year. So,
I was going to ask you how long it took, but you didn't even finish it yet.
it's
This
around
is-
30 to 40 hours. It's a long game. Yeah, but I think that's the one deterrent away from people. I wish
That's why I held
actually
off.
I wish it was
dropped-
a 15-hour game.
It
to be
dropped in
honest with you.
September, right? If my memory serves.
Yeah,
Mhm.
September.
And I
Yes.
remember, I think I was even telling you at the time, it was dropping right when so many other games started dropping. I was like,
Right.
I can buy it, but I'm never going to play it. So I might as well wait till I can actually play it before I buy it.
Yeah.
I tried to be
no,
smarter
definitely.
about that this year instead of just buying stuff. I was like, let's
That's
I
actually.
need to just rub
Wait
off
to
on
play
Garrett. Check
Well, not
backlog.
Because as soon as I heard Garrett mention it on a shack, I immediately bought it and put it in my queue to play.
Influencer.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Influencer right here.
Well, this was one that I put on my honorable mentions because I only played like the first 2, maybe 3 hours of it, but it definitely screams Rebecca game. And I wanted to put it on my honorable mention because I know I'm going to love it. And everything Garrett said rings like of what I'm interested in. So very excited to play this one in 2022.
Nice. Did Eastward make anybody else's list? All right, take it away, Haley.
Oh, we're skipping over Delvin.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go your way.
Okay.
He just showed up. I'm trying to give him time to make his list.
Okay. Number 5 for me is Deathloop. Huge fan of Arcane. I love the setting. I love Colt. I love Juliana. I love their interactions. However, this game was higher on my list and is now lower because they have broken the stealth system with their latest patch, and it is now unplayable in the correct order.
What?
Yep.
How is that
And
possible?
here's my favorite part about this. Delvin Jr. can attest to this because Delvin Jr. Got the game after they broke the patch and was complaining to me about stealth. And
Now,
then
what
I
is what
played it.
exactly is broken about it?
So enemies can detect you through walls now,
Okay.
which they're not supposed to be able to do
Well,
because they.
I get that.
Yeah. They can detect you through walls, and the power that temporarily makes you invisible no longer stops them from detecting you. So they've like broken it in a specific way. They're working on fixing it, and they don't know why it broke, but it's unfinishable for me. I still haven't finished it because the stealth makes it a lot harder to do.
Wow. Yeah, that is quite an update for a stealth game. I'm looking forward to playing it when it comes to Game Pass. Definitely put anybody
Exactly.
else's list.
Just my
It was a
honorable
honorable
mention.
mention.
Nice. Okay. My number 5 is The Medium. This came out last January. Kind of a throwback to horror games of old. And the one thing that stays with me even a year later with this game is that it got a lot of buzz, right? Because I think it was one of the earliest exclusives, especially on Series X with the delay of Halo and such things. Thank you so much. However, it stuck with me not because of the gimmick of the whole thing was you had these two worlds that you flip back and forth and you operate in, and that's cool. It's kind of like the Stranger Things upside down. There were a lot of things said at the time about its performance and stuff because of that, and I think they even patched it and made it better. And I think the PlayStation 5 release was actually quite excellent. But none of that is the reason this game is memorable. This story had me hook, line, and sinker by the end. I was so into the story. I could not wait for it to end. And the way that it wrapped up, this is one of the few, what I would consider story-based video games that nailed the ending. Like, I loved the ending. I was like, oh, that was good. This is a great way to kind of finish a game. So for me, I think it just lasted. It's lasted in my head all year long. Every time people have asked me all year long, what's your favorite game of the year so far? What's your favorite game of the year so far? I just keep coming back to the medium. I really enjoyed the medium. But also, I love those old school games. So there's probably some nostalgia play here that I just really enjoyed, seeing a game like this again. It hit in all the ways that Resident Evil used to, that Resident Evil this year didn't. So really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I couldn't do the story. Just
Okay.
the way it ends, I'm not a fan, especially as like someone who has mental health issues, so can't do that.
Okay.
And when I played, I liked a lot of it. I just didn't get back to it, but yeah, I was enjoying it.
It reminded me in a lot of ways of Control. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of that extra, Paraverse stuff that you hop in through, and like the whole psyche aspect. It was just, and it was smart. It was witty in that way. It made, like I said, I think the payoff rewarded those that stuck around for it. So I really liked it. Delvin, number 5.
My number 5 is going to shock people, and it's way out of left field, but it's Nickelodeon Brawl.
That is shocking.
That is way out of left field.
That is
Knowing
shocking.
you, not shocked.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because as I was going through that too,
For the
as I was going through the list of games in my head, I kept coming back to that one because that's the one I had the most fun with my kids with.
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
that's great.
That, like, every time we would sit down and they'd say, hey, let's play Nickelodeon Brawl together, we'd sit there and have a good time laughing at some of the silly things from TV shows like SpongeBob doing the imagination thing as an attack move. And then my kids like hate the Loud House, so they're making fun of Lincoln Loud, and nobody wants to play as him, and then play against Patrick. It was just like a blast, to just having fun with. It
Blast
felt
from
like,
the past.
yeah, it felt like playing an old Smash Brothers game, especially with the smaller roster. It kind of made it simpler for us to pick characters, and it was just a lot of fun. And every time I think back to it, it was like every time I think of that game, I think of just sitting down playing with my kids, and it's always like a moment where even with me watching them play, it was fun to me just watching them laugh and just have a blast with it. I think that's memorable to me. That's
nice.
Who is the best character
That's
to play
really
as?
Yeah, what's your main?
I play as SpongeBob because
Nice.
all his
I was
moves
gonna
are
say that.
ridiculous. My son, I think, plays as Korra, I want to say.
Korra, all right, from Legend of Korra.
Danny Phantom, best character. That's all I have to say.
I'm trying to think
Okay,
who my daughter
Danny
plays
Phantom.
at. My daughter plays as SpongeBob. She plays as Patrick. I'm trying to think who else. She plays as somebody else, but I also play as Ren and Stimpy too, which is also fun.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
That'd be nice. got
I
the
like
duo
that.
characters going on.
My plan is backfiring. We went around 6 people, and not one person had a game on somebody else's list.
I think once we get like to the
Sure.
top, that'll change because
Maybe.
Spoilers, I don't
Maybe.
think my number 4 is going to be on anybody's list either.
I don't think mine's
Mine's
gonna be
not
on
gonna
anybody's
be-
list either.
mine's
I think
definitely not going to be.
oddly enough, I think Donnie and I are gonna have some overlap.
Yeah, we're gonna have the most
I
overlap.
think so, yeah.
probably.
I think my list is most unique from everybody else's.
Well, I mean, I can spoil and say there are no Nintendo games on mine because
Mine's mostly.
Oh, mine's mostly Nintendo.
That's what
as
makes
well.
PSVG. Rebecca, hit us with number 4.
Okay, I don't even know if this counts, but I'm saying it anyway because
What a way to start off. Okay, listen.
Checkers.
I don't know if this qualifies.
I
But I
mean,
played it this
did
year.
you play it this year?
It's a 1-2 switch.
it's not.
Nintendo Labo.
It's DLC, but I think it's enough DLC that it could have stood alone as its own game.
You
if
say Age of Calamity DLC. I
It's
assume.
no,
Age of
I didn't even
Calamity,
buy
right?
that. I didn't even buy that.
Okay.
It's not much better though. It's the Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise
Of course it
DLC.
is. Yes.
And
That
I
totally
say
works.
that because I think that's the game that I spent the most time with this year when that released. Holy crap. It is like a whole game's worth of content. Going to the other island and getting like the tasks to decorate the homes like this is amazing. And I didn't play Happy Home Designer or whatever the one for the Wii U was. And maybe now I'm thinking that I should have
3DS.
because I didn't think whatever it was on. Maybe I should have played that because I didn't really know what it was. And I just totally had a blast with this. And like, I love that it unlocked things, outside of the DLC for the main base portion of the game that I'm able to enjoy. And honestly, like, it's just the most silly, simple concept, but it put a smile on my face every single time. And like, it made me feel like I could never be a professional interior designer, but it made me feel like I was doing such a good job.
The
And
concept
then like
works
being
really
able
well
to,
with Animal Crossing.
being able to see what other people created and like get ideas from them and like let people see what I did and like have them visit and see like my cafe and my restaurant and things like that. Like I just had like a stupidly fun amount of time playing this.
Well, it
so-
takes what so many people love sharing with Animal Crossing and just makes it the game versus like all the the tedium of doing it yourself. Funny anecdote about Happy Home Designer. I got that game. Victoria fell way in on Animal Crossing on 3DS. Like, just played it for like 5 years. That's the only thing she ever played. Happy Home Designer gets announced, and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna love it. Day one purchase. She played that game for like 30 minutes and was like, yeah,
Really?
no, this is not for me.
Really?
Wow.
Jack, however, picked it up and played that game for like a year. Jack
Aw.
got so into Happy Home Designer, he kept bringing me all of his designs and stuff. Yeah, so that was a really it was a fun like reverse where it flipped on its head, and then Jack just played it, and I was like, well, at least I didn't waste my money. Somebody's playing it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. It's silly, but I love it. It felt like it could have been its own game, and I felt like it was worth the content of Switch Online.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Ev?
All right, so my number 4 is Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Number 2.
There we go. There's the overlap. So yeah, this was one of those games that was definitely on Donnie and I's like highly anticipated game list.
The reason I bought a PlayStation.
Yeah. It had all of the like the Zelda feels that I was looking for just in the way the game looked and seemed like it was going to be playing. I really enjoyed the combat. I really enjoyed the story. It was a really nice, fun, whimsical world. So it was a nice like departure from like a lot of the like playing Outriders, and then going into Kena was just like a nice type of like cleanser or whatnot. So I really just enjoyed it, fell in love with the characters, the gameplay, even collecting the silly little rots or whatnot and putting little hats on them and stuff. It was just fun.
Yep.
And it was a game that I can play with my kids or whatnot. They can watch me play. They can play it as well, which I don't have too much overlap with games that me and my kids can enjoy because I don't like the stuff that they like at all. So this was nice to have something that we could all play and they could watch me play and sit down like, Dad, when are you going to play the game with the girl with the stick? So
Aw.
they enjoyed watching me play that. So it was just really nice. It was a really fun game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the combat. That was probably the thing. It was difficult enough
Yep.
to just not completely make me want to throw my controller across the room, but also felt like a challenge to play. So Kena, great game. hopefully, this is just the beginning of greatness for that studio, because this was, I believe, their first game too. So
Yep, first game
fun
ever.
times, fun times.
They said they might port it to other systems, but they said they'd wait till after the holidays, so maybe other folks would get to play it. Kenna was my number 2 game of the year. I absolutely adored it. In my opinion, it's the best Zelda game that was released this year. For all the indie wannabes and all the things they're doing it. Like it felt like old school Zelda in all the best ways. Old school 3D Zelda. I guess I should add.
Yeah, I had to look at you like that. Wait,
Right. I know. I really, like you, I really enjoyed the combat. The way that it layered combat on top of each other. You start with the stick, and you get the power-ups, and you get the bow, and then how you start adding traversal. The boss fights were knuckle grinding. They really challenge you to make sure that you're using everything. And many times I wanted to drop down to easy, and I didn't, and I stayed with it. And I'm really happy that I did by the time I reached the end. As with all these things, I fall in love with finding the things that are hidden off path. And it's not just like an open world littered with dots to go find. There are actually just hidden things that you just can't. They're not on a map. You don't see them. You have to find them. Yep. And that discovery is something that I've always really enjoyed in a video game. I love looking, and maybe I'll get a peek of something behind a door or through a window or through a crack. And it's like, can I get over there? Can I get around there? Can I get up there? And Keena's got a lot of that. So yeah, obviously it's my number 2. So I really, really liked it. So we can take that out of my round 2. Anybody else on Keena?
I like it a
I
lot.
want to play it.
It's in my games I want to play but didn't get to.
Nice.
Yeah.
From what I played, I liked it a lot. It's one of those games that once you put it down and you pick it back up, you don't remember anything you're doing. So I kind of get back into like the swing of things with it. But I like it a lot. It's great. It's one of those games I want to sit down with when I have a lot of time and just bang right through it.
It just feels traditional. It's very linear. Kind of pushes you through a path. There's not like a giant open world to explore.
Without a bunch of dots on the map.
Yeah, because of that,
So
though,
much better.
they really ramp up the visuals and set pieces. Some of the cutscenes and the things that happen in this game are jaw-dropping to look at on PlayStation 5. I mean, it really, just really, and like the hidden tombs and the temples that light up and everything. And just, anytime I'm thinking about it, I'm just remembering all of it. And like the field that's on fire. It's so good, Rebecca. You've got to play it.
I know. You did tell me that.
Good.
That I
This is Rebecca
probably will
talking.
eventually.
I'm sure it
I love
also helps, Donnie, that you have a TV that makes colors really pop, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the color pop, because Keena, this is not to derail, but wow, were you right about Second Son? Because I was testing the colors for that, and wow, the HDR on the Nano Cell for that TV
Turn
is
that off.
garbage.
Doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. Garrett, number 4.
I may be cheating just a little bit, like
Look at
Rebecca.
Shaq
This
crew.
game
Look at Shaq here.
Just
definitely
Nintendo
come out
cheating.
this year.
That's what they
Look,
do.
I played Pac-Man, and
Yeah, it's your favorite game of the year. This game got released way back in the day, and I had just such a fun time. I can't believe I didn't play this game before, and that's Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
Yes, this came in on number 4. Is one of the what?
It counts.
Chrono
It counts.
totally
Chrono
counts.
Trigger.
You never heard of
It's,
this new game, Chrono Trigger?
I feel like the game is older than you are.
It's pretty close. I
Yeah.
think we're about the same age. Maybe I'm a little older.
You're a whole year older than it, Garrett. It
Whole 1
counts.
year older.
How old is Chrono Trigger?
Came out in 95.
95.
Oh, it came
Okay,
out the
cool.
year I was born.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Hey, it counts.
Okay. All right. Chrono Trigger, guys. It aged very well. Dev, you should go back into it. Get yourself a retro pocket. Get yourself an emulator of what. Or
I
get
have
on
it. I
Steam.
have it. I
It's
have
on
an
Steam.
SNES. No,
You have an
I have an
SNES?
SNES.
There you
I'm just
go.
gonna
That
play
still
it there.
works?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
sounds good. Good.
And the
Go get
SNES.
your $200 copy on eBay.
Exactly. What a fantastic story from beginning to end, and Chrono Trigger being like a time travel type of story. There's not a lot of movies or video games or media that does this story, like a time warping type of story well. Chrono Trigger does it very, very well with all its characters from beginning to end. All the side characters are endearing, full of personality. All the inside quests of the characters and their boss designs are fantastic. Pixel art. It aged very, very well, and I'm very glad I went through this game this year, and hopefully I'll play some more classic RPGs that are older than me or about the same. So
Garrett, I
Secret of
approve
Mana.
so much. It's on
Secret
my
of Mana.
Oh, Secret of Mana is really good. Yeah, that should be Garrett's next game.
I need to get that one. Yeah.
It's on my sweater. That's how much I
Yeah,
love
that's so
Chrono
cute
Trigger.
with the Santa hats on each of the characters.
Garrett,
an
I
amazing
100%
game.
approve. It counts.
There you go. I got Rebecca's approval, so I'm good.
I don't know if I
Love-
approve, but it's an amazing game.
I like
There you go.
Romain's comment. I feel my hair graying in real time.
Mhm.
Haley, you're up next. Unless somebody else has Chrono Trigger. Anybody else?
I had it in '95.
Yeah, that's all I was
Nice.
gonna say.
It was on Dev's list before the internet. Haley,
Yeah, legit.
Okay. So my number 4, also technically cheating because it came out years ago, but it did get re-released this year, and there were some updates done to it, and it's also technically cheating because it's more than one game. But the Mass Effect trilogy re-release
Oh yeah,
nice.
that counts.
at 60
totally counts.
FPS is my number 4. Playing Mass Effect again at 60 frames, I might add, is fantastic. The story's great, but so I still am not. If you're jumping in now, if you've never played Mass Effect, I am always going to tell you: do not play Mass Effect 1. Use the comic. Jump to Mass Effect 2. Because
That's what I did.
Mass Effect
Nah.
1 has not aged
Nah.
well, even with the
Disagree.
updates. Even
I
with
enjoyed
the
Mass Effect
update.
1 very much.
I like
I
Yeah.
replayed
It ha-
Mass Effect. I played Mass Effect when it came out a couple years after it came out, and I didn't finish it because it didn't really stick with me. And then finding everybody at PSVG that loved it, I played it again when it hit backwards compatibility. And I played it for maybe 10 hours that time and still didn't stick with me and didn't
Really?
finish it.
Wow.
Mass Effect.
Elaine told me to start with 2. I want
Yeah.
to give this a try. I'm waiting for it to come to Game Pass, but Elaine said, start with 2, go there, and then try it. Maybe it'll stick with it.
Yeah.
I
You're
just
gonna
think maybe
play
I'm
it
just
for
not
10
in it.
hours.
Yeah,
You're
but-
not into Mass Effect. You're gonna play it for 10 hours and be like, all right.
Yeah, I feel like that's
not
where
for
I'm
you.
gonna be,
It's
but
not
I
for you.
started with 2 and I loved it.
Yeah, Mass Effect
Okay.
2 is where I started as well, because when I originally played Mass Effect 2, the first one was still Xbox exclusive, and I didn't have an Xbox at the time. So, played Mass Effect 2. But because Mass Effect 1 was not available on the PlayStation 3 when I originally played it, they had made a comic specific for the PlayStation version called Genesis that allowed you to make your Mass Effect 1 decisions. Did that, love the story. It came out, I played Mass Effect 1 to completion, could not, it just did not age well, and I feel the same now with the updates. But
just
the
doesn't hit the
updates,
same.
no, Mass Effect 1 is, like, it's a good story, but I cannot deal with the gameplay
See,
mechanics.
This gives me hope and optimism. Maybe I can have the Rebecca Haley experience. Maybe
Like,
I
it's-
too can like Mass Effect.
I don't think it's so much that I don't think you're gonna enjoy the Mass Effect story. I don't think it's gonna stick with
Yeah, I
you.
never have.
I just don't. I don't think it will.
Unfortunately, I'm going to actually tend to agree with Dev here. I really don't think Donnie will enjoy this. Give it
Yeah,
a
I'm not
shot.
planning on it.
Give it a shot, but I don't think you can enjoy it. However, Mass Effect 2 will always remain my favorite because of Legion.
I mean, people love this game. Mass Effect 2 is so many people's like not just favorite game, like favorite game ever. Like top
Listen,
10
I
game
don't-
ever.
I don't even like shooters, but I love that game.
And I love shooters. Like I want to like it, but just I don't know what
It's
it
the
is.
characters, it's the
Playing
side
that first one,
quests.
I'm just like nah.
Listen. I was 15 years old, and does this unit have a soul made me cry. Okay, so like Legion.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where it's at. Mass Effect 2 is great. Go
I'm with you, Haley.
go play it.
Mass
Anybody
Effect
else
is my
have
top
the-
5 games, so it's not on my list, but it's my top 5 of all time. I love Mass Effect series.
It probably would have made my list. I bought the trilogy this year for PS5, but I didn't get a chance to play it. But it probably would have made my list.
I
When it
bought
comes
the
to Game
trilogy
Pass-
as well. It's in my honorable mentions. I played the first Mass Effect for maybe like 7 or 8 hours right now, and I'm enjoying it. It's just there's so many other games I'm playing right now, so got to put it on pause.
I'm in the same boat as Garrett.
Yeah,
There's too much other stuff to do.
I was playing it and I was enjoying it so much. And just walking around the Citadel and the cities, I was like, I gotta stop because I won't play nothing else. But but this all year, so I was saying, no, I can't play this right now.
There's a lot to do in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
My number 4. This is the only point of contention that I had was number 4 and number 3. I waffled back and forth, but I ultimately settled. Forza Horizon 5, my number
Wow.
4 game.
Wow.
Still playing it. Played it last night. Played it the other day. Played it the other day for like 3 hours. Just played it the other day until the middle of the night. Finally got my Ferrari California, so I'm cruising around in that thing. Just it's Forza Horizon. Like it's a lot. It's hard to. I don't even really know what to say. Right? It's Forza Horizon on Series X. It looks and plays beautifully, in 4K, 60 frames, all that jazz. And I had a time. I had an absolute time playing and smashing all the boards and doing all my speed traps. I have covered every road. I've just canvassed this map game. It's a big world map game, and I've just covered all of it. I haven't done much of the multiplayer. I did do the Pinata Rush, and just have a few minor things left that I want to keep working on. I've enjoyed replacing Sean's name on most of the leaderboards that I've come across. That is my personal vendetta. But it's one of those things where I wanted to flip it with my number 3. Ultimately, I didn't, because I don't think I enjoyed it as much. But it's one of those things where with Forza Horizon 5, there's not a whole lot I can say bad about it either. It really just kind of checks all of the boxes that you look for in a really quality, superb game. What they did audio-wise this year with the engines and stuff, and I know people may not think that matters, but when you play a Forza game, you can really tell a difference, especially when you play multiples. When you start getting to sequels, like Forza Horizon 3 and 4, like 5's audio game is next level. Like all the cars, they feel different, they sound different. It really makes a big difference. And who doesn't love Mexico? Mexico's a blast. We've got ruins, we've got
awesome.
It
beaches,
looks
we've
beautiful.
got deserts. I mean, we've got everything. Everything you could want in one world is like all thrown in there. And in a lot of ways, I don't regret it, but I wish maybe that they had, I don't know, like had a longer DLC tail or something. And I'm sure Forza always crushes DLC, so I'm sure we'll have some great content to come. But I feel like a lot of people, I feel like we all just crushed that game in 2 weeks. Like we all just went all in on Forza we were like, all right, we got 17 days until Halo releases. Everybody go. Like, because I played so much of it that first week that I'm like, man, I wish I maybe spaced that out a little more, because even the other night, when I finally got my Ferrari California, and that's really like the thing that I had left that I really wanted to do, like on my to-do list. So now I'm just kind of cruising around being like, what am I going to do next? I could actually do the races. I guess I could start doing that.
You haven't done any of the story races?
No, I've unlocked most of the festival. But I never do the drift zones. I never do the speed zones. Like, so there are certain things I can go back. I haven't done all of the jumps yet, I don't think.
No,
I still have more jumps to do as well.
Some of them won't appear if you haven't unlocked all of the PR festival as well, which is weird because like you'll see people going over an invisible ramp and you go, okay, what? Just to jump in here, this is my number 3. So
nice.
So I love Forza. I've always been a fan of Forza. Like even when I didn't have an Xbox, I'd go over to a friend's house and play it. I jumped in personally playing it with Forza Horizon 2. But I've always loved it. And now that I have the console, I got to get back to it. I stopped to keep working on Guardians of the Galaxy. So
nice. Forza make anybody else's list?
I enjoyed when I played the 2 hours of it.
Nice.
Had to make my list. I got to get
too.
more into it. I only put like an hour and a half of us, but like that.
Nice. You're up next.
My number 4 is going to surprise people again. Avengers, War for Wakanda. I love this game. The Black Panther DLC for Avengers. I wish the game was just
I love
Black
your
Panther.
Commitment to this bit.
Yeah.
No.
You've stood by this since the get-go, and I appreciate it. I like the first and six of their games.
As Dev said, the single-player stuff in the Avengers is great.
Really good.
And that's as Dev said.
Yeah,
Not the rest of the world or anybody, just as Dev said. They should
No.
put that on the box.
A lot of people
As
say that,
Dev
I
said.
A lot of people say the story is really good.
A lot
good.
of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all the other stuff around it that sucks.
I mean, another person on this podcast did say the story was great. Guess what, though? Didn't go back for War for Wakanda because that game is.
I love
that.
I love hating on this game. I've never played it. It's just it's so much fun to dig in on this one.
I couldn't do it anymore because you're only fighting robots. Like, I'm sorry, the War for
Yeah.
Wakanda looked interesting. I don't want to fight robots.
Look, Ryan
This is the
Turford
thing.
says it's really good.
There you
I
go.
stand corrected. If Ryan
Let's
Turford
believe it
says it,
then.
it must be true.
Wow.
This is the thing.
Son
War
of
for
a-
Wakanda adds different people to fight in the game. It adds human combatants and things like that because you're fighting against clawsmen and it's his own story. You know, you're not even fighting in the same areas that you fight in a normal Avengers game. You're fighting in Wakanda, so you're fighting in the jungles of Wakanda as Black Panther. He's moving, looking cool, and
It does sound awesome.
It's awesome. It just
When I first saw Black Panther, I was like, God, this would be an awesome video game.
that's my whole thing. It feels like this should have been its own game. Even the whole
Could
story.
you imagine a Black Panther like Infamous game? God,
that would be
Oh,
cool.
that would be the
it
best.
sounds so much fun.
I mean, Donnie,
Yep.
considering your rant last week, you're probably gonna get one, and you're probably gonna claim that everyone's gonna be tired.
I don't think they'll
Well,
be tired
no,
of
that's
Black
the one
Panther.
I'll actually play. We can stop
Black-
the Wonder Woman and stuff. We make a
No,
Black Panther
Wonder
game.
Woman, I'm super stoked for. Nemesis system Wonder Woman.
Said
Hell
nobody ever.
yes.
With the
No,
whip.
thank you.
But
We're
it's just a great story, man. It's a great story of just Black Panther. And it's the thing I like about it the most is it's not an Avengers story. It's a 100% Black Panther story trying
That's
to hunt down
awesome.
Claw. Then the Avengers come at the end and help him. But no, this is.
Can you
it's
play
on
that
the
story without having beaten the main story? Can you just like get Avengers
Yes,
and just
you
play
can.
that piece?
You can just play that piece. Yes.
You can do that with Hawkeye and
Nobody cares, Haley. Devin, you're speaking to me here. You're speaking my language. You're starting.
I'm just pointing out
starting
that
to
you can
work
play
here.
all of the character released after launch. You can play all of their stories as soon as you have the helicarrier. At that point, you can play any of the characters when you want.
I will say this: Avengers now is like cheap. It's like $15 for the game.
I mean,
It's on
you can
Game
usually,
Pass.
yeah,
I
it
was gonna
is.
say it's on Game Pass.
it's on like if you don't have Game Pass. Why wouldn't you have Game Pass, by the way? But you could
I
get
don't
it on
know.
Game Pass, or
Smart
you
thing.
can buy it for $15.
My game of the year, Game Pass. So I can't-
The games of the year.
I highly recommend trying the Black Panther DLC if you like Marvel stuff. If you like Black Panther, it's probably going to be the only Black Panther game we're probably going to get. So
I hope not.
definitely
That'd
say-
be a shame.
I hope not, but it seems like that might be possible.
Big open world like action melee combat game screams Black Panther. I mean, that is such a
It
good
makes too
thing.
much sense.
Unfortunately,
really
they
does.
made Wolverine instead.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Wolverine is cool. You
Stop
shut
it,
your
Haley.
mouth. He's
I'm not
Canadian.
saying he's not cool. I'm just saying
Definitely
we
not
got
as
Wolverine
cool though.
He's
instead of
I am
Canadian.
saying that it's not as cool.
Just look at it like
Wolverine is
this.
Canadian.
We've gotten a bunch of Spider-Man games. We've
You
gotten
came
a
to
bunch
fight Wakanda with Canada
Yeah.
I came to fight
What a
Wakanda. I came to
mess.
fight Wakanda with vibranium.
with Canada. Hey, it's in Canada.
Right. Canadian
I-
doesn't make it better. That's just
I mean, statistically speaking, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It's because of the kind of stuff with all the high tech stuff as it mixes in. You know, it's just so much better than just
Canada.
Wolverine. God, just
Also, as a bonus, when you go into the throne room, you can sit down as Black Panther. Just sit on the throne, just look cool as hell. I like that part too.
That's
solid.
cool.
Okay.
You've done a very good job of trying to get me to maybe even try it. I probably still won't, but you've made me think.
I'm
about it.
not even gonna try it.
You've made me think about it.
Dev, you
Pretty
should
good.
try it.
I'm good. I'm not reinstalling that game.
I'm good. All right, we're on our number 3. Specs, take it away.
I know this is not on anybody's list, and it definitely won't be on yours, Donnie.
I'm cheating a little bit. If you say Mario
No,
Golf,
I'm not. No, it's not Mario Golf.
I swear to God.
It's not Mario Golf. It's new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely no.
Yeah, I know you didn't like this game, but I really did. So for anyone who doesn't know, the original Pokemon Snap was one of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64. There are a few games
Same.
that I have played, as many times as Pokemon Snap on the N64. Like, I know that game like the back of my hand. So much fun. I didn't think we would ever get a sequel or whatever for
Same.
that game. So I was so excited when they
I
announced it.
jumped out of my
and-
chair when they announced it.
I know, and I'm so sad that you didn't like it as much as I did, but it works for me. I really liked it. I think the levels were so pretty, so cool. There weren't as many of the same secrets as the first game that I think we were really hoping for. But just because it was different doesn't mean it wasn't something that I didn't really enjoy. I had a blast playing through this, and it felt like I was a kid again playing this game. I was able to kind of shelf like a lot of the expectations that I had. I don't know. I think maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. I think it was like the perspective that I went into it, like not hoping that it would be exactly like the first game, but just kind of seeing like what they could do with it in 2021 and like modernize it. And I enjoyed it. I had like all these grand plans to like 100% it and stuff, but then I started to feel myself getting burned out by it, and I didn't want to ruin the experience for me. So like I kind of knew when to put it down, and then they announced it like a free update for it, which got me back into it and playing it again a little bit more, and it kind of added that more content. I was glad that it wasn't paid. I felt like it was a full game to begin with when I did play it, and then when they added a couple more courses on top of that, just kind of pulled me back in and let me experience it again. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm just happy that that franchise got some love because I didn't think it would ever happen.
And I hate being put in the position that I'm in right now.
I know, because I know you hated it.
Pokemon Snap is one of my biggest disappointments of the year list.
I knew it would be.
And I agree with you. I'm really happy that it saw the light of day. I was over the moon for it, and in hindsight, I was probably just way too excited and maybe expected too much. The game for me overall, not that I don't want to crush your opinion on it by any means, it felt in a way like lacking charm or like soul compared to the original one, and maybe that's me grandizing like my my nostalgia, but in a lot of ways I don't think so. Like just the interactions with the professor and the grades, like on the on the pictures and the secrets, like all of that extra stuff that I think made that game so replayable. I couldn't imagine wanting to replay new Pokemon Snap. That sounds like a punishment. Because it just
See, I think we liked different things about the original. Like I could not care less about what score I'm getting, with the points and everything. So. I care more about finding each of them and completing the Pokedex and
I loved evolving and making all these like interactions happened. I loved like the chain
I missed
reaction.
that. There was some more of that in the post game, which that is one of my criticisms of it, and I talked about that in my review. I wish that a lot of the things that they say for the post game were in the main story, because those are the things that really shine, I think.
For so much of the campaign that I played, it just felt like I rode through and took pictures, and like nothing special or nothing extra happened. And I was like, what's the point?
I definitely get those criticisms for
sure.
For
me, like when I played Pokemon Snap, like that's why I played it. So for all the things that I enjoyed, I was like, what's the point of doing this? We're just taking photos? Like, oh, I'm out. And yeah, that one hurt. That was a burn for me. But I'm glad it made your list. I'm really happy that it made your list. I'm sure it made other people's lists. It sold really well, right? It sold like 10 million copies.
Something like that.
I think I saw it on one of their lists or something. I it sold really well. I think.
I was just very happy that it existed to begin with, and that I really enjoyed my time with it. And it had what I thought was a lot of content. Every time I thought like, oh, this is going to be the end of the game, another course popped up, and then I'm like, oh, this has to be the last one, and then another one popped up. So
let me ask you this:
yeah,
is it the only Pokemon game on your list?
Yes,
it is the only Pokemon game on your list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll save that too. Dev.
Okay. Number 3 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's my number 2.
This game was
nice.
Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I haven't played a game that has felt so true to the characters ever. Like, it's just the amount of just dialogue in this game is absolutely insane. While you're running around, going through the missions, and it's a completely linear game for the most part. There are some hidden things to find off here and there, which is nice because it adds all the different suits and stuff for the characters. But just listening to the characters banter with each other, they're constantly talking trash.
Let me ask you a question.
And then also,
is that because of you? Are you as a fan of the movies, a fan of the comics, both? Like, do you need to have? So if somebody only watched the movies, because I imagine there are a lot of people out there.
It still feels. It'll still feel true to it. Yeah, you'd love it. Because, I mean, they're all those characters. Like, Rocket is Rocket. Groot is Groot. Drax is Drax. He's probably the most funny.
He's hilarious.
He's just
he's so deadpan.
Oh, God. Like, the delivery for him was great.
Also, the way they've like made, because it's rated T, right? So like the way they've gone around that Rocket usually swears is like he's creating new words. Yeah, he's creating new words all the time.
It's so good. It is just so good. The combat is fun. Like it starts off really basic and then it just evolves over time with all the different upgrades you can do, the way you can kind of control all the different characters. It's very Mass Effect like in that way where you're actually, telling them do this, go here, do that, and then being able to combine all of those things together. It was just it's an absolute blast to play. And then having all the character dialogue and the characters just feeling true to each other, and then being able to kind of steer some of the conversations with just the little stuff you can choose to say as Peter Quill or not choose to say, it just made it for a fantastic time. So I haven't finished it yet, but I'm absolutely in love with this game, and that's why it's number 3 on my list.
Yeah, it's number 2 on mine. I haven't finished it either. I know Delvin, you said this was also your number 2.
Yes, and I did beat it.
Yeah, I haven't. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Haley.
I haven't beat it yet. I'm in chapter 8 right now. Haven't really had much time to play since like work stuff, but like so I'm loving the story. And I've never read the Guardians comics. I've only ever seen the movies. I've seen snippets of comics where like people make PS I Love You references in them because some of the writers love kind of funny stuff. So like they'll have Peter wearing a PS I Love You shirt or whatnot. But the humor is great, like others have mentioned. The way that you can synergize combat effects with each other is great. I'm still not super fan of only being able to play as Peter, but it is what it is. The other Guardians do have some cool abilities that you get to utilize, but just it's very nice to have like this linear story game.
Do they have segments where you play as a different character?
No,
Nope.
you only play as Peter.
Okay.
Always Peter. You can like so. You know how you play Mass Effect 1, right? You know how it tells you that you can like control your squad mates.
No, I get that. Yeah,
with
you
the
can assign
buttons?
tactics and stuff.
That's what you do.
Just
with
usually
the
like with
Guardians.
squad-based games, they'll do like little puzzles or little segments where it's like you use this person's special ability now.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Lego stuff and things like that.
Not so much that, but like there will be sections where like, and there, you only have a couple options, but like one's like, "Hey Groot, make me a path." They're like, and Groot's like, "I can't do that, but maybe Gamora can or whatnot." It's very nice that like the banter is so believable because like it's nonstop. Like you can just try to sit there and watch them banter, and they will keep going.
They just keep going.
It-
The
it,
script
like-
has to be something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, there's so much banter that like at one point I just stood there and they kept going for 20 minutes talking and I hadn't moved, and Peter was doing idle animations while he was talking. Like I love this game. It's great.
I agree with everything they said, and I would add to it, the game has a lot of heart. Like a lot of heart. Like there are moments that are touching and heartbreaking that you'll find that you wouldn't expect to get from a video game. There are moments that you'll laugh out loud. And then when you get to the end point of the game and you see how this team has gelled together and bonded, you kind of feel that in terms of like you have moments where the team gets their little rough patches and they're not getting along and things like that. Then they overcome those rough patches and they come together as a team. And you don't really see that too much in games where you feel these actual moments like, ugh, this feels uncomfortable because everybody's pissed off each other, things like that. You try to patch it together, you can't patch it together. It's just so many moments like that that make the game work for me. It feels like the movies, it feels like the comic books in a good way. Like the banter never really gets tired. They're always
Not
saying
repetitive and stuff like
no,
that.
not at all. They're always saying silly and witty stuff, particularly Drax when he's like doing his dog report things, which is utterly
Drax.
ridiculous. It's just so many great moments. It's so much character building. Rocket is awesome, and making Rocket mad is even more awesome. It's just such a fun game. I loved it so much.
Nice.
This is in my honorable mentions as well. I started the game. I'm done with chapter 2, and yeah, just basically agree with everyone. I'm really surprised how this game is hooking me, and it reminds me a lot of like a Telltale game mixed with like this squad-based, action-based game, and Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm literally laughing out loud like every 5 minutes because of this banter. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I
It
gotta
is a
get
great
to it,
game.
I guess.
I mean, Kevin owns it, right?
Right? Yeah. No, I've
I
got
think
access
you'll
to it.
enjoy
That's
it.
not a problem. Okay. Me next?
I think it's
Really
me
scared.
because it was It was
It
Devs.
yeah, it was
Okay.
Dev's
For
number
some odd
three.
reason,
We
I
just-
was like, is it Haley? Yeah.
no, because
guys.
like he told us to jump in with
Yeah.
overlap.
If it's on the
so-
list.
So I think this might surprise a lot of people, but my number 3 is Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
I love it.
Ooh.
I love it.
I absolutely loved this game. It's probably like itching out to me as like one of my favorite 3D Mario games now. Just going through it for the first time. This totally got me. I love the levels in this game. I love how it's not like terribly long either. I went through it about a weekend, and you can go back and 100% and get all the collectibles and stuff or whatever. But I just had a blast just going through it once. And then going into the Bowser's Fury part, I thought that was a great addition to the game. I love the 3D Mario action. I love the big Bowser mechanic or whatever.
I went
Has
back
a lot
and
of heart.
finished Bowser's Fury after I got my OLED, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was very
Ooh.
good to
bet.
do on the OLED.
But yeah, guys, I really this caught me off guard. I really enjoyed it for a week, and it was very memorable for me when I played through this game. So that's why it's sticking really high in my list.
I love the
this year.
pick. It's not on my list only because I played it on Wii U, and to me,
Yeah.
it's very much a port. But if I had to rank like my favorite games that I bought and played on Switch this year, it's definitely near the top. You guys know exactly. You guys know, you Shaq folks, our Shaq team. You guys know exactly how I feel about Mario 3D World. I've been singing this game's praises for a very, very long time. I do think it's better than the Mario game that came out on Switch. I mean, it's very good. It's my favorite 3D Mario. But I also like levels and courses in Mario. Like I like having the ability to race times, to find secrets. There are so many times where I'll play a level, try to find everything, and then I'll try to play it and try to run through as fast as I can. And having both of those options gives me a lot of Mario replayability. And I do think that this one stands out because of Bowser's Fury, right? And it takes that Odyssey type thing to like a whole new level, and it has a really interesting world mechanic with Giga Bowser and like how that impacts the world and how you use that, and how you can manipulate it with Amiibo or the timer to like kind of fit in how you want it. Like that choose your own adventure aspect to it has a lot of freedom that you've never really had in a Mario game, before. So it's one that I'm still playing. Like, I still open that game and will hop through a level or so every now and again.
Nice.
And I had a really rewarding moment to piggyback off of Delvin. Had a really rewarding night with that game actually this year. One of my better memories of this year. My daughter had her friend from school come and stay the night, and we popped that game into the Switch, and they played it for like 5 hours. They just sat down in the basement. I turned all the lights on, and my daughter remembers this game from when she played it on Wii U when we beat it, because she and I sat down and we beat it together. So she remembers this whole game. So she sat down with her friend and she was like, let me show you this, let me show you that. And she's showing her how to do all the water courses and all the ice levels and stuff. So we had a really fun time. We almost beat it that night, and then I finished it the next day, and it was great. I love that game.
That's so nice.
I agree. I played that game when it was on Wii U, and I have the same kind of feelings you have about the game. The game's great.
I remember screaming into the void when that game came out, right? Everybody's like, Wii U's dead, Wii U sucks. I'm like, but have you played this Mario game? It's so damn good.
It's really good.
Oh, man, I love it. Everybody get out there if you can get it on sale, right? Black Friday, Christmas, everything. Like,
It's $39.99 right now.
oh, it's so good. Honestly,
It's so
Bowser's
good.
Fury alone is almost worth that. I would easily pay $20-$30 just for Bowser's Fury.
I got it for my kids. I can't tell which one they're playing. It all looks like Mario to me. I don't know if they're playing Odyssey or 3D World or what. I have no clue. But
It definitely looks very
enjoy it.
different from Odyssey. You
I
gotta
love
get in
it.
there,
I
man.
can't tell.
You gotta get in there, Devin. You gotta get the double cherries.
Bruh,
You gotta play
Double
it.
cherries
You know
will
I'm
blow your
not-
mind. When you start controlling 8 or 9 Marios at a time, you're like, what the world's happening?
You guys forget how much I dislike Mario.
I think
Dev, I'm with you.
I think the last
Oh,
Mario
wow.
game I played
Good.
was
Oh my god.
was new Super Mario Bros. U.
Also good. And a totally
Very
different
They play
game,
that a
but very
lot
good.
too.
But very good. Do the time trials. People don't know that that's there. Do the time trials. A lot of fun. Haley.
Again, my number 3 we've already talked.
So what's
about.
your next one?
It's
Yeah,
Forza
what's the next
Horizon. And we've already talked about my number 2 as well.
Okay,
Well,
so
wait,
we'll
we
come
can't
back.
go all the way to number 1. We have to wait.
We'll come back. My number 3 is Far Cry 6.
That's my number
Let's
3 as
go.
well.
That's my number 2.
Nice.
Wow.
The difference between this one and Kenna, I feel, I've said a lot of things that I think didn't do it for me for Far Cry, but this is our favorite game of the year. So let me tell you what did. The reason this got number 3 over Forza Horizon 5, quite honestly, is because I played it longer. Played this game for like 7 weeks, and I didn't play anything else, and didn't want to play anything else. I love the Far Cry loop. I'm going to play Far Cry this weekend. It's kind of like my Christmas plan while we're off, is I'm going to go and continue Trejo's Tacos, and I'm going to do the DLC and Blood Dragon. And I mean, I just love. Since 5, I've learned that I love the Far Cry loop, like this.
I agree.
Choose your own action, adventure movie, guns a blazing, blow everything up. I honestly wasn't anticipating liking Danny, the main character, as much as I did. There was a lot of hesitation for listeners of PSVG for a long time. That there was a lot of part of me that thought that maybe Far Cry 5 just hit a sweet spot for me, and that maybe I wouldn't like other Far Cries. And I absolutely love Danny Rojas, and it was great. And I'd love to see more DLC and more of her. And the story was really nice. It was really nice, and I enjoyed liberating everything. And it was just like, again, I played it for 7 weeks. Just played it for so much longer and so much more than Forza. And part of me thinks that I just played, I just crushed through Forza. But as I kept sitting back and thinking, I just kept remembering mission after mission after mission of Far Cry. And I was just like, how can I not talk about how much I enjoyed this and how much I combine these Supremos with these weapons, with these grenade launchers, with these shotguns. I had this shotgun that would just blow people like 50 feet in the air. It was just so much fun to just walk in. Like, there were bases that I didn't do anything. I just walked in the front door, just alarms going off and everything. And I was like, yeah, come get some. That's what Far Cry is all about. I'll never forget listening to our friends over at the Xbox Drive talking about, and Ryan in particular, talking about how stealth is OP in this game. He's like, stealth is just so OP. I just got this bow and arrow, and I just walk in and I silently kill everybody. I'm like, yeah, that can be fun for a moment, but that is not what this game. That is not what this game is for.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
You're just missing everything. I have so many bases I walked in and just set the world on fire.
I mean,
just
stealth
blew up everything in front of me. Just these people didn't stand a chance. They didn't realize the force that they were coming up against. It was just a blast being such a badass.
Stealth in that game becomes pointless.
I feel the same way, but on the stealth part. They didn't see it coming. They'll
stealth
never
is
see
easy.
it coming.
That's easy.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah, it is. It is.
I was just gonna say.
I'm sorry. Walking in and blowing everything up is easy. You just tossing a couple grenades, get a rocket launcher.
Crash.
That's easy.
You take a helicopter. You come down into the fort right before it's about to hit. You jump out of it. As you're parachuting down, you start tossing grenades. You just land into a world that's on fire. Everybody's running everywhere, and you just start pulling out shotguns and blowing people away. While I have my Aluzo Panther killing everybody at my side. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you put the game on easy mode. You weren't lining up shots. You weren't taking out. You weren't taking out alarms or anything.
Murder Machine, the game.
What is
not my type of game?
So much damn fun. So much fun.
Stealth in that game becomes pointless once you get the Supremo that allows you to shoot through walls.
It does.
Then you just activate that and just shoot through walls.
I never used any Supremo other than the first one.
The Supremos
That's the
were
only one I needed.
You missed out on so much. They were a lot of fun. I liked what they added to the Far Cry formula, as well as Juan's weapons. I liked what they added to the formula. I just, I feel like it needs to be said, for all of the effort they put into making sure that you varied your combat with all these different skills. I wish they let you use them more effectively, let you switch them and swap them out better. That was like a big complaint of mine.
Yeah, I also miss being able to customize your weapons on the fly and having to go to a workbench.
But it was a blast.
I found my loadout and we were good. I didn't need.
Like I said, I'm still not done with it. It was one of those things. I'm sure everybody has a game like this, right? Like, I think we can all find an example of this where I had these very similar 3 or 4 games, right? And I was like, well, how can I not give preference to the one that I just kept playing because I was having so much fun with? Like, there's no specific reason why I chose it over the other. It's just like, I just played this game for 2 months and it was a blast.
Yeah.
So
I think, because that's my number 3, in terms of, if I can play a game for 20 hours and not do any of the story content and not realize I haven't done any of the story content, that says a lot for that game. And that's exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
Same. Yep.
I was playing 20 hours, like, I haven't done any of the damn story content.
I did the same thing. They're like, you need to get to this farm. So I was like, nah, I'm going to go do this.
You
this
get
base.
lost
I get
in
these
the world
checkpoints.
and the quests. Yep.
It's such a great game, and it's so well done because you can kind of just go where you want to go and do what you want to do, and it doesn't break the game.
Yeah,
I love it. I think I'm like 60 hours into it now. My map is like full, and I don't have any time. I don't feel like stopping. I'm enjoying it that
Fighting
much.
chicken companion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
I think forever my main complaint though is that like you can't destroy the anti-air cannons over the city, and it makes traveling through the city like such a pain.
See, as somebody who likes shotguns, kind of.
I was like, I didn't even try to.
Dude, I was
destroy
just.
those.
If I could have had a trench coat and just desperado this game, like I was just walking down Main Street, like, come get some.
Donnie wants to go postal on the Far Cry.
Big neon sign over here. I'm over here, guys. Come get me.
Also, Danny's an amazing character.
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
gosh,
she
she's
is.
amazing. She was so good. Absolutely loved her. I loved all the characters in the game, to be perfectly honest. Like, that's part of what kept me in that world. Like, I just wanted to go back to Yara and be hanging out with the characters of that world. Like, it was just so much fun.
Chorizo is where it's at.
Chorizo's good.
I didn't use any of the companions.
See,
They don't fit my style of play. They just
Aluzo
don't fit
does,
my
though.
style of play.
Chorizo
Stealth does.
Chorizo does fit your playstyle, and so does the
But
one
if
that Donnie just mentioned.
if they kill them, then I can't.
No.
That's
they're
true.
not. Chorizo
That's
doesn't kill. Chorizo distracts. It's the only
I
one
don't
that
need
won't kill.
I don't need distractions because, like Donnie, once the alarm goes off, all hell's breaking loose. Okay,
Oh, you
all
don't-
bets
you
are
don't-
off.
You didn't mess up. See, I'm setting the alarm off. I'm walking up like, hey, bring your tanks.
Yeah, I'm going in. Nobody's gonna see me coming. They're all getting
It is
stealth
fun
killed.
to
But
do
if that alarm goes off,
In you and
All hell
Ryan's
breaks
defense, for those of you, I've said this a bunch. There were so many times where I acted like this game was like 007, just like N64 007, where I just went in with a silenced pistol and just kept going through bunkers and hallways, just sniping everybody around corners. Like, you can have that fun too. And that's the thing about Far Cry. It's just a giant sandbox that enables you to do whatever you want. You can spend so much time in that game just kind of going in all different directions. I'm very excited. I've never played Blood Dragon, so I'm very
I
excited
haven't
to play
either.
it.
So
And I'm very excited
really
to get these
cool.
tacos and all the other DLC that is to come.
I'm actually super sad that Blood Dragon's only 30 FPS. There's no update for it.
I expected that. When they said it was a classic edition, I was like, yeah, I know what that means. Good job, Ubisoft. Make all the money in the world. Do NFTs. We can't put in some work into a remaster.
NFT stands for no fucking thanks.
Jesus.
I like that.
Is that the first time you heard that?
Yeah.
So,
Also,
that was my number 3.
That.
So, like Haley, I am down to one. I have one game left.
Yeah,
I'm also
down to
down to
one,
one
too.
game.
I'm giving that to Deb, by the way, that I stole that from a Bungie developer who tweeted a picture of, I think it's the four-armed guy. I forget what their name is.
Give
It
it
was
6 months for Bungie to introduce
yeah.
NFTs coming to Destiny.
No, they actually came out and said, no, we're not doing
they
that.
won't. They won't.
We'll see. Delvin, you said you only have one left?
Yes, my number
Hang
one.
on to it. Rebecca?
I have 2 left.
I have 2 left.
Let's go number 2.
Okay. My number 2, I gave a 5 out of 5 review score to when I reviewed it earlier this year, and it is Metroid Dread.
Nice.
And I know this was on a lot of
Nice.
people's honorable mentions, and I'm a little sad that it didn't make
Sorry.
all of your lists, but that's okay.
I'm terrible at the game. That's why I didn't make my list.
I just didn't finish it. I don't play my Switch.
Really?
That's part of the reason.
I
yeah.
Don't.
I didn't feel like
I
picking
tried
my
to
don't have
Switch.
finish it,
access.
and I quit at the end. I gave up. It's
Too
That's
hard.
kind of crazy.
I'm just tired. I fought so
Yeah.
hard to get there, and then by
Yeah.
the time I got there, I had no will to finish.
It's a
I
tough
was like, I
game.
just
It's a
don't
really
wanna do
tough
this
game.
anymore.
I love everything this game stands for. This was a game that was in development a long, long, long time ago, and it rose
You're a
from the
fan.
ashes, and it lived up, I think, and people have been asking for this game for so long, and I have played I'm like a relatively new Metroid fan. I started playing Metroid a few years ago. I started with Super Metroid, and I've tried Prime, and I beat Prime and everything. But I think it's safe for me to say at this point that I absolutely prefer 2D Metroid over 3D
There is
Metroid.
only
And
2D Metroid.
And I prefer 3D Metroid.
Yeah, and I
That's
know
not
everybody
Metroid.
has different opinions on that, but I am definitely a 2D Metroid fan, and this game was everything I wanted as a new Metroid fan. I felt like it was difficult, but it was never unfair to me. I felt myself through the hard boss battles. I felt myself getting better and better. Each time that I was doing it, I felt myself progressing. Every time that I felt like I was lost, I ended up finding my way back to where I'm supposed to be just because of how well the game
I
was
do agree
designed.
with you that it does a really good job of
Mhm.
kind of just pushing you in the right direction.
Right.
Just kind of
Without
find
making it
yourself,
obvious or making you realize even that you're going the right way.
Mhm.
Yep.
The areas were so inspired. I love like the aquatic aquarium area, the jungles. It was so lush. There's so
That
much,
aquatic part
dynamic
was
background,
like so many
environmental
like
cues.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and stuff. Like it was great for
Mhm.
that. Yeah, that was really
There was
good.
a lot of like foreshadowing, like you could see a future boss being experimented on in one area, animals running in the background because they're being chased and you can't see what's chasing them. The story as well, there's one little, kind of plot twist in the middle, and I think for me that was like holy
Yeah.
crap, and it was really drawing me in, and like at that point I'm like, I gotta keep playing this, I gotta see what happens. The final boss took me so long to beat. It was
And that's where I
so
quit.
hard.
I was like,
It
never
was
mind.
so hard. Was that the point, the very
I
final
know I
boss
made
for
it to
you?
I made it, and I'm proud to tell everybody.
You should be
I
proud.
made
Yeah.
it to the final boss.
Yeah, you should
And
be. That's a hard
I-
game.
I died 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I'll just watch.
Oh no.
That's
Well,
my
the
will was
ending
broken before I even got there. Like I was just like, I'm done.
the ending is so epic. I felt like it really
Yes, it was.
it not only is epic standing on its own, but if you've played previous games in the series, especially Super Metroid, it really builds on a lot of those, storylines with the baby Metroid and everything. And
Yep.
if I hope that they don't stop with 2D Metroid, but I think this story arc for Samus is over, and I think it was a brilliant ending to that series, and just so beautiful. I want to look at how this game looks on the OLED.
It's
Oh, it
I
looks
love
fantastic.
I
It is a
love
so
this
good.
game.
It was a perfect game to put beside that
I
hardware.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's just
and
a
one
shame
other
they
thing
didn't put like a little Metroid thing on the dock or the Joy-Con. They
that
should
would
have
have been
just
cool.
put a little emblem somewhere. It would have been.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say about this game is I am a very chronic map user in games in general, and I love when games have good maps. This game had an amazing map, and I referenced
Dude,
it a
really?
lot, and it was
The map
so
is
good.
so good. The fact that you
It's
can
so
actually
good.
select doors and stuff based on the
Mhm.
type of weapon you need to get through them, that is like the type of stuff that Metroid is always needed for people like
Yes, yes,
People
absolutely.
like Donnie. What the hell is this? I've beaten most Metroid games. Thank you, sir.
You hate
So-
maps and backtracking, so
I hate backtracking just because. Well, you know what? That's not true. Let's correct this. I hate backtracking when it's literally just walk through the area that you've done before. When it's smartly done and you've got to encounter enemies and stuff to get back, then I like it. I don't always hate backtracking. It's just I want it to be rewarding. I don't want to go all the way down this long labyrinth just to get a weapon and go all the way back just
Well,
open
I
the
think
door.
they did a very good job with that in Metroid Dread because there
I agree.
were elevator
I never
transports
felt
to
that way
different
with-
areas.
With
Yeah,
Metroid
so
Dread,
you were going back to old areas, but
Yep.
it wasn't a hardship to get there.
it
They
was
made it
100%
fast
seamless.
travel. Yep.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
I never
So-
felt that way with Metroid Dread. In that
Yeah,
regard,
I give
I give it a lot of
5
credit for its design. I think it was
Me too.
It's
somewhat
top-notch
like
design.
yeah, expertly designed well.
Mhm.
Like I said, it was always amazing how there were so many times where I felt like I didn't know where I was going, and I was off the beaten path, only to wind up at an elevator. It's just I was like, well, I guess I
Sure,
need to
let's
get
go
on
into
this now.
element.
Yeah,
Mercury's
and I
team
would
did
get
an
on.
amazing job
Just
with
go
it.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's my
No,
number 2.
I liked it a lot. I'll back you up. I mean, I think it's a really good game. Yeah, it was really difficult, and obviously that sours my taste a little bit. But obviously, I've never been the Super Metroid fan, so I think that's why it made my honorable mentions. It was
I
right
love what I
there.
played. I just didn't finish it, and it's on a system that I hardly ever pick up.
Here
so
you
that's
are,
why
look at
I
you
couldn't.
throwing shade at me. You didn't even finish. Get out of here.
I already said I didn't finish it. It's on Switch.
Mhm.
I just don't want to play Switch. I can't help it.
I
Wow.
finished this game, and I agree with you, Rebecca. The ending is pretty epic.
It's so
and
good.
For Dev being a Metroid fan, it's like you gotta see the ending of this
Like
game.
all Metroid games have an epic ending. Like if you've played a Metroid, especially a 2D
True.
Metroid game, you
I've
can
played them all.
probably imagine what the ending is like. But
Mhm.
this has a cherry on
This
top.
one. Yeah, this one's pretty good. I really enjoyed of what I played of this game.
At the very
Yes.
least,
For sure.
YouTube it.
No, I won't do that.
No,
Okay.
no, you should play it.
You should feel it in your hands, you
Yeah.
know? With the Switch OLED.
That's not gonna happen unless Rebecca sends me one, because I'm not buying that thing. I don't play it enough to make it an option. It's just not gonna happen. I just need to get another dock and put it in here where I actually play games, and then maybe I'll finish it.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Dev, are you down to number one?
I'm down to one game. Anybody
Alright,
else got
Garrett?
more than one game?
I got 2 games left. I'll go through my second game pretty quickly because I don't think anyone else is probably going to play this game. And that's Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Number one.
Um,
No, I'm joking.
So this game come out around middle of November. Is the latest game of the franchise, Shin Megami Tensei, where it's, I think I've said this over and over in Shaq, it is like the weird, dark, monster catching Pokemon cousin game. It is very hard, but it has the same kind of DNA as Pokemon. You go through
Yeah.
various areas. You catch monsters, not with a Pokeball or whatever, but with conversations. And these conversations are like the weirdest things. The monsters ask you for money, for health, for NP in order to return to like be in your party. And you don't know when they're going to stop. And that's what's so hard about this game. The demons take everything from you, no matter what. Sometimes you encounter a monster and like they just want to beat you up. It's like, hey, give me all your money or I'm going to just destroy you right now. But what I really like about this game is the turn-based combat. It's much more granular than Pokemon. Pokemon, you can probably just do one attack and you're good. You're just like hitting over and over again. All right, I'm good. I got my one Pokemon. I got my one move. That can probably go through the whole game. This game's like, no, you got to plan out each area, each boss, each mini boss. It's like, okay, this affinity is like strength or like going over certain other affinities, and then you can go back to these hubs and like prepare your monsters, prepare your party. It's always in flux. Your Pokemon, it's like, here's your party. 9 Shin Megami Tensei. You go through a lot of change in your party. That's what I really like about it. I love the style of this game a lot. I love the main character. He looks super epic. Doesn't run terribly
I've
well.
heard. I was gonna bring it up. I've heard lots of
Yeah.
bad things on that regard.
It doesn't run that great.
There's a deep
But I think
Reddit thread.
with an Age of Calamity. So there you
Yeah.
go. Better than Age of Calamity. But yeah, I'm still in the middle of it, guys. I think about like 25 to 30 hours in, but I'm
Wow.
really having a good time with it, and I hope to finish it off sometime next month.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my number 2.
Are we all down to our number ones?
I think so.
Rebecca.
This isn't going to be anybody's number one. I'm surprised it wasn't on somebody's list at all. But my number one game of the year was Life is Strange: True Colors.
Hi, number 1.
Haley!
Oh wow!
Oh my
You guys are
gosh,
not gonna
this
like me.
game. Oh
You're not
man.
gonna like me either.
Hell
Not
yeah.
gonna like me.
This game is
Yeah.
so special to me. You
Hmm.
guys know I love Life is Strange 1, so near and dear to my heart. And as soon as they revealed kind of what Alex's like power was going to be, I feel like I resonated with that so much. I'm a school counselor, and I feel like obviously I don't have like a superpower where I can like feel people's emotions, but I've always felt like
Rebecca's
I'm
admitting to us
a
that she's
very
a superhero.
I feel like that the
Yeah.
concept of empathy resonates a lot with me. So I feel like I was able to identify with Alex Chen a lot in being able to kind of read and feel emotions that people have. And so I was able to connect with that with her. just like in every other Life is Strange game, I feel like the characters stood out so strongly to me. I feel like they developed them so well, the interactions with them. And I know that people might feel like choices don't matter as much as they should, and that's the strongest criticism for it. But I feel like that's kind of been true in all of the Life is Strange games. And to me, I feel like it's the micro choices making your personal experience with the game is a way bigger concept for Life is Strange than like what you end up with. Episode 5 was so great to me. I love the all of the weirdness and darkness and creepiness of her going through those flashbacks and kind of exploring what her life was like and getting that backstory and like finding out why she is the way that she is and kind of feeling those experiences and going through all of that. This was a game where I saw some things that were coming, but not everything. And there were some twists that I was like, what the heck? Like I wasn't expecting it at all. So the characters and the story and just the world. I want to move to that town and just seeing that community. I love this game and it's so special to me. And it came at a time that I really needed it.
So,
and I think that's big. And I would love to hear Haley's thoughts as well.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here as well. Not a school counselor, obviously, but like Alex Chen. Wow, I know, right? Like Alex Chen, I do like come from like a broken family type situation. So like I'm not gonna delve into that, but like so I resonated with that.
That's where Delvin's name comes from.
Wow.
I'm not gonna delve
Let
into
Haley talk about her experience with the game.
So like Life is Strange 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. Because Chloe Price is one of my favorite video game characters.
Hella good.
Like, but like jumping into this, I was kind of hoping there'd be callbacks, and there's certain characters. The DLC, we're not going to get into that because I don't like the DLC, but I love this. I love this game. The choices you make as Alex, while not as impactful, I would say, as the first Life is Strange, I really enjoyed. I love her power. I love like the connection that you can make between Steph and Ryan, and I don't know. The town's great, but mostly Chapter 5 is what does it. Also, like it does. I haven't seen many other games do this. The only other game I can recall doing this is Arkham Asylum, where it makes you think you've like broken your save and then started over. Because Chapter 5 has you start in the same place you start Chapter 1, and it's real weird. Arkham City had like a visual effect to let you know, like, hey, your save's not broken. This is part of the thing. But here, you're just like in there, and everything looks the way it did in Chapter 1. So it's very thrilling. I don't know. I'm just a huge fan of Life is Strange, and I thought this story was super well done. I do have one criticism, and that's that I wish Gabe was in it more, and I wish that you actually met Izzy in person.
Yeah, I wish that we hadn't known. I don't know how much you followed like the trailers and stuff going into it, Haley.
I knew.
I wish that they didn't tell us kind of what was going to happen with her brother, because I feel like that would have been a bigger shock knowing it. So I do envy anyone who didn't know that going into it, because as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, that's how it happened. We knew that was coming. So I feel like that part would have been more, a little bit more powerful and impactful if we hadn't known. But again, I feel like Haley, we both resonate with Alex for different reasons, and I wonder if that has something to do with our enjoyment of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know that I love games with strong characters like that, and I think the characters were believable. A lot of people criticize Life is Strange games for having unbelievable dialogue. But I don't necessarily mean their dialogue is believable. I think I mean like who they are, like the characters that they shape are believable.
Also, I think most people's criticism of the dialogue in this is that they feel like they're teenagers being written by adults, but like, I don't know, have you heard most teenagers speak now? Because they would sound like some of the characters from Life is Strange.
Yeah, I don't think it was
as a father of a teenager, they
far off as people think.
It'd be like, bruh.
Yeah.
I feel like the characters by the end, I knew them.
Yeah.
And just that end of having, I don't know if we're getting into spoiler territory here, but having the characters almost like decide your fate based on the actions of like what you did throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing was like, oh my God, like these people, like it's important to make those connections with people because you don't know at what point like that could come into play. And I feel like that's a lesson for real life too, like to remember, you know, you want to be kind to people because when you need them later, like they could be helping you out when you need it most. And I don't know, I think that that's a good lesson, and I just love this game so much.
Well, like the both of you, I'll start first, Garrett. Like the both of you, I'm a giant Life is Strange fan. And like Haley, I come from a very similar background from Oxygen. As a matter of fact, episode 5 hit home for me in a lot of ways.
I remember you
Not
talking about
just
that.
not just the orphanage, but actually what she was going through at the orphanage
Mhm.
really struck me. I feel like I have a lot of similar crossovers. But I've said my thoughts about Life is Strange, and I definitely don't. This is a favorite games of the year podcast, so I don't want to take away from your guys' enjoyment too much. But for me, my lasting memories is I felt like the story was a bit too convenient. I do have it's not that I have an issue with her power per se. I have an issue with the way her power manifested itself throughout the game. I felt like that first interaction that we have with her power was awesome. I was so on board. And then I felt like later on in the game, it becomes more of a telepathy type thing where she can read people's minds and recount things that happened in the past where she wasn't present to. And that doesn't feel like, to me, like what I think of when I think of the definition of empathy. That feels like a different superpower, which is totally fine because Life is Strange. We've done all kinds of stuff. We rewinded time. Like it wasn't beyond believability. It just wasn't necessarily I think that's where I come up with the word convenient. It feels like a lot of things are kind of written to allow these things to happen.
Well,
Just
I think I get what you're saying with that, and obviously it was greater than just the empathy. She did have a stronger power than that. To me, it was like she was kind of learning this and building on it as the game progressed, not unlike how Max did in the first game,
Yeah.
where first she was just rewinding a couple seconds, but then she was able to use the photos to go back to time in the past.
She went back years.
Yeah, so
like once she looked at that photo, she went back
There-
15 years.
I feel like that's comparable. That just like Max, Alex was able to explore her power and go a little bit further with it and a little bit deeper as she was able to know who she is.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with you guys. And I remember my original review on the podcast this year, that was kind of where I was saying like none of this is beyond believable for Life is Strange, but for whatever reason, I just kept coming around to like, well, this all just kind of worked out well. I don't know. It just felt a little too. I don't even have the right word. Too easy, honestly. Like
Okay.
everything just kind
Yeah.
of fell right into place. Whereas where I felt like the first Life is Strange was a little bit more challenging with the climax and the drama and everything that kind of happened.
That's fair.
It just kind of felt like this was exactly where they were going from the beginning. I didn't find a lot of the swerves to be swerves at all.
What about at the end of chapter 4 when she
Totally.
What really?
Totally, yeah. My wife can attest to totally.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't
that's
see it
legit.
coming at all.
Now, I don't. Again, this is a favorite games of the year. So let me tell you about the things I loved about this game. You had your little Dungeons and Dragons episode, which
That
was
was cool.
absolutely.
That was really
adorable.
nice.
It was adorable.
You had that moment in the apartment where you were reliving things with Steph, and that was very, very like touching and very, very nice. And honestly, I do feel like it has to be said, at least for me, the DLC left such a sour taste in my mouth. It is quite frankly one of the
once
worst
you guys
DLCs.
talked about it,
mention that.
when you
It's
talked
one of
about it, I didn't even bother to pick it up.
It's one of the worst episode, like one of the worst like DLC
It
extras I think
shouldn't
I've
be an
ever.
episode, really.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be. It shouldn't be anything. It shouldn't be paid. I'm not even sure if it should be a thing. It's so insignificant in so many ways, and it hurts to say that because it could have been amazing if you had really lived through those memories and really done more with stuff. God, it could have been great. But it feels
Well,
like that's what they
disregard
wanted to do.
that.
It feels like that's what they wanted to do, and they just ran out of time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like it feels like you just take that extra step.
Well, I just want to say if anyone picked what was the guy's name instead of Steph, you're wrong because
Yeah.
everybody should pick Steph.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's.
Actually,
We can't help you
I
if you
know-
guys did that.
I know several people who picked Ryan, and they're right.
Why? I want to know why.
That's what I
I-
wanted
I
to know, and
picked
they couldn't
Ryan.
give me an answer.
Why? Why did you pick Ryan?
Because I felt like everyone wanted to force it on Stephanie. I was like, no, let me just choose the other guy and see how this goes.
can
And
understand
it
that.
was fine.
Garrett.
It's not forcing it on
Um,
Steph. Like in the D&D,
Even
this is-
Ryan disagrees with you on Ryan.
Well, here's the thing. Like you could have leaned into Steph, and it was easily to get into it. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to push
Yeah.
against the current and be like, okay, what if I just not flirt with Steph? What if I
get
just
that.
not do that?
Yeah,
and went
that's
to
I
Ryan. I'm
definitely
like,
get
fine.
and it fell flat to me. I was
Did it
like,
pay
oh,
off?
Okay, it really didn't pay off
did.
at all.
No,
That
it
is
pays-
something
it
they
pays
they
off for
should have
Steph.
they should have made Ryan a little bit more desirable because he was not
Yeah.
I agree
desirable.
with you. Yeah, there was nothing
From the
there for me.
beginning,
Yeah,
he was.
There was a
undesirable.
clear choice.
I will say, just
Um,
again, I feel this is one of my least favorite Life is Strange games. I think
Oh, that makes me so sad.
I like Tell Me Why More.
I
I
love
like
Tell Me
Tell Me
Why.
Why.
I,
more
sta-
as
I
well.
started that. I
Yeah.
haven't finished it yet. But
Oh,
I
Haley,
started that
you'll
earlier
like
this
it.
year.
I'm
I'm a little biased in that regard, but
But you'll like it.
It's really good.
I totally agree with everyone's thoughts with Life is Strange True Colors. I think the writing is best it's ever been. I think the characters are very endearing as well. I think the way I play games, though, I like to look at every single little thing, and I feel like this game wanted me to do that, but there was no payoff on a lot of these things.
Yeah,
I felt like I was going out into the town, and I'm like, oh, he wants me to go to that building, but let me go to that garden first. Let me go to
Mhm.
that like building, and it felt so slow because she just
Ooh.
walked like all the time. I'm like, okay, did I actually do this interaction? I forgot that I did this interaction, and there was no direction other than go to this objective. And actually, you miss a lot of stuff if you don't
Yes,
do
you
this.
do.
You-
Yeah,
you can-
you do miss like really vital interactions. Like I screwed up
Yeah.
a couple people's lives because I told them to do the wrong thing.
So yeah, I'm a person that looks all around, and I even miss some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not great on like trying to do like all the game is supposed to do. I think that's why it fell flat a little bit with me. Also, I think this game, as Donnie, I think I agree a little bit. It was kind of expected a lot when I was going throughout the game, and also the developers touted like this was going to be this cool open world that's so dynamic, and then when I was going through this game, I'm like, no, this is not open world dynamic. This is
I didn't
a
even
Life
know
is
they
Strange
said
game.
that.
I didn't know
Yeah,
they said that either.
they were, because they were like,
Yeah, they
hey,
were
let's
really
merge.
pitching their open area, like the town and stuff, as a brand new
Right.
feature.
It's
and
more
kind
like
of
a
new
hub.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even compared to other games that have like open areas or hubs. Like it's quite small, and there's not a lot going on. I don't hold it against that,
Yeah.
because I did enjoy exploring it at first. Just know that after the first time you run around, there's just not much more there.
I also just want to give a shout out to the best character, Riley. She didn't get enough screen time either. I don't know if you liked Riley, Haley, but she was amazing.
Yeah, I did like Riley. Again, still my biggest complaint is that like there's so many memories of Izzy in this game and you never meet her once.
Yeah, I know. That would have been
yeah.
cool.
DLC should have really paid off for that, and it did not.
Yeah.
That's my game of the year.
Mine too.
Nice.
And I love that you did it. I mean, I was very excited for the game, and I'm very happy that I played it.
Haley, I'm
love
so
what-
glad it's on your list too.
I love Life is Strange. I love the series. Dev, let's do it.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
number one.
I already know what this is. Go ahead and give
Death's
it up.
motherfucking Door, baby.
I
Yep,
knew it.
Same here. Game of the year. That's the way. There's nothing.
Yes.
There's
Wow.
nothing really that's made me think twice. Death's Door has been
Me
my
either.
game of the year since I've played Death's Door, and nothing has
Same.
ever actually made me move from Death's Door.
Yeah. It is the Zelda game that I have been waiting for because I like the more traditional, like top-down Zelda type
That's
stuff.
on my game I didn't get to but didn't want to because I
Yeah.
didn't realize what this was until semi-recently.
Yeah.
No, it's on my games I want to play but didn't get to because
So damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's y'all know I don't replay games very often. I'm replaying this game already. Like it came out on PlayStation, I bought it and I'm playing it again because I absolutely love this game. The sound design, the colors, the world, the combat, everything about it is exactly what I love about games.
This game is
It
everything
was-
that I wanted Tunic to be.
Yeah. That's exactly what, when I see Tunic, I'm like, they already did that. That's the
Yeah,
we're good.
I'm
I
the
don't need
same
Tunic.
thing. It's like they showed Tunic. They're like, Tunic at the Game Awards. I'm like, that's cute.
Yeah, yeah. Death's Door, man. It's just, it has all the backtracking and stuff that you would normally find in just this open world type Zelda game. You got to go back here and do this, and do that. You have all these weird puzzles that you're trying to figure out.
Now we're talking.
You see things that you're like, I can't get there, but I know I'm gonna get this weapon to be able to get there. So I got to remember that and come back to it. There's no map in this game either, which is also like a serious departure from games of this nature. Normally, you can at least press start and bring up a map of the overworld. There's no map whatsoever, so you just have to remember everything. And the way that they tie all the different areas together, once you get all of the weapons and things of that nature to actually traverse everywhere, is incredible. Even the story, like the idea of you're a reaper and you got to figure out, okay, well, my assignment, this dude took it, and now I got to figure out how to get behind
For
Death's
those that
Door.
haven't played or seen it, when Dev says Reaper, you're a crow.
You're a
who's
crow.
A Reaper. So you
Yeah.
shepherd people to the afterlife as a crow. You play as a character as a crow.
Nice.
Yeah, it just, and even like the story after the story, like there's just so much to it. The stories of all of the different key masters and things, there's just so much there. It's so enjoyable. It's just hard enough. Like the combat isn't terribly difficult, but it's also not easy. It's like an homage to like the old school game. You have to pick up patterns and figure out, okay, how do I dodge all of these things here, and then I can get my attacks in. Also, the timing of your attacks, because you have to think about how long it takes for your sword to attack, and then which upgrades. So there's also the progression system that I love in games, being able to upgrade my abilities. So it just gave me literally everything that I love in a game and dropped it in Death's Door, and it is probably top 5 game of all time for me. So not
Ooh,
just
I really
number
wanna
one
play
this year,
this.
It's really, really
number 5
good.
all time. It's
Oh.
incredible. I still listen to the soundtrack like regularly. I bought the soundtrack and it stays pretty much on repeat because the music is just so perfect for the game that they've created. Like it fits so well. Just absolutely adore this game.
I
Best game
wish
I've
this
played in a
was on
long
my
time.
radar when it came out because I didn't even really know it existed until my friend Mary started playing it, and I'm like,
You should
why
have
am
watched
I
the
not playing
Devolver
this?
Digital show with me and
I
Donnie.
did,
Yeah,
and
you
like for
watched
some
cover it.
reason it didn't. I don't know if maybe the trailer didn't catch my attention or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna get this game soon.
I mean, look, you watch the Devolver Digital show for like Devolver's nonsense. The games
Yeah.
are kind of secondary when you go there.
yeah.
Not for us. When we saw
Not
it,
for
we were
us.
like,
When
dude,
Donnie-
this
when me and Donnie
crow
saw it,
game
they were
looks
like, oh.
fucking hype.
Oh.
So I'll just piggyback here. It's my number 1 game of the year. I don't think I love it as much as Dev might. It's not like I don't know what my favorite games of all time are, but I don't know if I'd claim that it's top 5. But it's definitely my favorite game of this year. I thought it was really, really difficult until I realized that I was having a drift issue with my controller. Once I fixed my controller, I didn't find it as challenging as like I did Kina, for example, until the final boss. The final boss definitely challenges you.
Yeah.
But they also checkpoint you in a way that I really appreciated for a game like that. They didn't have to. This game is very approachable, and you can definitely do it. If I can do it, you could definitely do it. And I didn't find too much trouble with it once I got off my old green controller with the broken joystick. The art palette is incredible. It has just such a distinctive look. And then my favorite thing about the game would be probably very different from Devin's is I really enjoyed finding all of these. There's so many secret tunnels and hidden places and hidden, like just all these different pillars and doors and switches that you can do. So many things. And here's the thing. When you think you've done them, you're like, wow, that was crazy. You've probably only done like 25% of them.
Yep.
As somebody who's like looked up a guide, I only got like half of them. Like there's
Wow.
twice as many as I got that are there. There's so much more there. I do know that Dev and I completely set up different characters. Our characters were completely different. I don't remember what they were, but I remember mine like dealt heavy punch. Like I was heavy melee and heavy range, and you were doing like more of like a speed rollout. What was the other one?
I did attack and speed basically.
Yeah.
So heavy. Like I wanted to be able to hit as hard as possible and get out of the way.
Oh man, it was just the story is impactful and memorable, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a slight spoilers. There's a boss fight at the end with another character, not the final boss, but there's a boss fight with another character that you meet
Mm-hmm.
along the way, and it is so memorable, and it's both for style but also for mechanics, but really for just like the experience of how they lay this out. It's so
Yeah.
artistic. Like like
I
it,
love
it
that.
hits on multiple levels because it's like the story of what's going on, but also the presentation of how the combat is being taken, and then how you feel after you do this
Mm-hmm.
to this other character. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was just like, God, I absolutely fucking love this game, and I've been saying
Yeah.
it since it's happened. I've tweeted 1,000 times. Play Death's Door. You guys are missing out. It came on an Xbox. I bought it and played on Xbox. The moment it went available for Switch, bought that too. Like I can't wait. I
Yep.
cannot.
Donnie,
it's
this is
so good.
clearly a Rebecca game, and you didn't like
I
get
did.
this on my
told you.
radar.
We
When
both
like,
told
we've
you.
done
When?
1,000
Tell
times.
me.
I will say
I
this.
don't
all year
remember
long.
this.
I've listened to these knuckleheads talk about this game for at least 6 months.
We've told you all year
At
long.
least 6 months. Like straight.
It's so good. It's so good. I bet I can
Well,
find me tagging you.
I'm joining the
Right.
You, Me, and Capri book club, so I can play this next month.
Oh, it's
It's
just
so damn good.
so good. I love it.
Ugh.
I absolutely love it. It's like for me it hits more in like the Katana Zero aspect for me, where it hits so hard. I'm like,
Mhm.
how for me when I'm looking back at the games I played this year, I'm like, how could it be any other game than Death's Door? Remember I was saying that
Same
Far
exact
Cry
way.
like or with Forza, like it checks all these like performance boxes, like in terms of being quality. For me, Death's Door checks all the boxes. Gameplay,
Yeah.
music, art,
100%.
style,
100%.
story. It's got it all. It literally is the full offering. I'm
It
actually
even has in game.
I think
There's
we
an
said it
in game loop.
I think we said it at the time. I almost felt bad that it wasn't like a full price game or like more expensive.
What's it, like $20?
Yeah.
It's $20. I would have paid
Like you
60.
played, you're
gladly.
like, God, they deserve more money than this. Like, can we give you
Yeah.
more money for this game instead? Oh, it's very good.
Yeah. Oh, incredible.
Mhm.
I want to play it right now.
Very, very good, y'all. Very, very good.
Does anybody have anything left?
I think Garrett and me have.
Garrett,
Yeah.
Garrett, Haley, and Delvin.
No, I already
Wait,
said
Haley,
mine.
Haley, we were so
Oh,
me and
that's right,
Haley were
that's
the
right.
same.
You're right.
Devin and Donnie were the same. Are Garrett and Delvin going to be the same?
No.
We'll see.
I'm almost certain we're not.
It
Almost
could be
certain we're
amazing
not
though. It
either.
could be amazing if it was.
Mm-hmm. My favorite game of the year is Psychonauts 2.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah. What? Is it the
Nope.
same?
No,
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 he said
not
no.
even
He said no.
close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close. Not even close. All right. Well, I won't ramble on it too much, but I was just enraptured by this game from beginning to end. I really love the art style of this game, this 3D platformer, the world that they build around the Psychonauts, this clan of like this agency that can not control people's minds, but figure out how to go into people's minds and thoughts and figure out what their personalities are. It was really well realized. I really like going to each individual level and seeing what creativity is popping out of this game. Every level is so different, so creative. I love the little just like side type of like hidden areas as well. The obstacles was very good. The characters, the side characters were I was really into it. I was really invested into this game till the very end with the story. I really enjoyed about this game is the end of it because it has a message. It has a lot of different like thoughtful and like psychological messages. That's why I think Rebecca, you would really like this game. It's all about the psychology of the mind and like going through like stuff like loneliness, happiness, betrayal, like all these different types of themes into and personify it into a game. It was so good. Like the feel good message at the end was like, hey, everyone has a darkness. We just need to figure out where to put it and how to control it, how to contain it. And I think that was a very good story and it was very well executed. I did not play the first Psychonauts, so I just went into it straight into the second one. they have a recap of the first game in the beginning, and it caught me up very well, and I just really enjoyed of what I played of this game. So yeah, Psychonauts 2 is my game of the year.
Nice.
Very
Delvin?
nice.
My son likes Psychonauts too, by the way. He's liking it a lot. He's playing it, and he says it's a great game. So I don't blame
Yep.
him. My game of the year, probably a surprise to no one, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Nice.
That is a surprise.
My honorable mention.
Yeah, it was my honorable mention as well.
I love it's I don't want to say basic. Basic may be a little too strong of a word. It's a Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah, it's traditional.
It's traditional. There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. It feels like you're playing a Pixar movie. I've
Definitely.
been playing the game multiple times, and when I'm playing it, people come look and stare at it. It's just like in awe how great it looks. And I love the story of it. Just the whole story of Ratchet, Rivet, and everything that goes on to it. And I like the fact that, not to get into too much of spoilers of it, the game is so much fun up to a point, and then you get to this halfway point where everything just gets serious. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that. And it gets like even a little bit dark in terms of like how you get into Rivet's backstory and how she what happened to her arm and things like that. And then you see the other Nefarious, who's different than the Nefarious you're used to. It's a really cool time travel story. I think people kind of got fixated on the whole thing where you open up these rifts and, oh, this is next gen and stuff like that. But when you play the game, it's more or less like, hey, this is a really cool story. And I'm glad that we're getting really good platformers now. Because there was a time when we weren't getting these type of games. And when we were getting them, they were indie games.
Yeah.
And I feel like that Ratchet and Clank reboot kind of helped bring this kind of genre back in the forefront. And I love it. I think this is great. A lot of heart in the game. Rivet, I hope she gets her own game. I like her character a lot. I like the banter between Ratchet and Clank. I like the fact that while it's still like fun Pixar type game, it has its little dark moments that kind of fit the world. Now, it was just great. A great time to be had. And it's fun. It's one of those games that you can play around your family. You got to worry about the kids seeing that they're not supposed to see. So I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it.
It looks like it has so much charm, and I have never played Ratchet and Clank, but I've seen a lot of it, and it just looks fun. And I'm glad to hear that it has a deep story too.
This is also a Rebecca game. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I know that is I've never played Ratchet and Clank, and I'm not usually huge on platformers either, but that's one that I've always wanted to dip into a little bit.
Same here. This was my first Ratchet game, and I can't stand platformers. I mean, I
platformers
played way too many of those in the actual Nintendo era. So I was like, I don't want any more of this nonsense.
But this is different.
Absolutely love this game. Like, and I think part of it is because, like Delvin said, like that switch up in the middle where it gets a little darker. That's the kind of stuff that draws me in. So Rivet's story is just really, really good.
Really good.
The visuals of the game, the gameplay feels really good. There's progression for me. Like it really is an awesome game. It was hard for me to leave it on just the honorable mentions because it was hard to not put it in my top 5 because I really enjoyed it. I don't ever platinum games. This is one of the few that I actually platinum.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's a really, really good game.
Also,
now I want to play all 3 of these all 3 of your game of the years, Death's Door, Psychonauts 2, and Ratchet and Clank. You're convincing me.
We should point out just how rare it is for Dev to have platinum this, considering he never does New Game Plus ever. Yes. And to platinum this game, you have to do New Game Plus.
Yeah,
that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I'm not playing a New Game Plus.
And it's a beautiful game.
It does look
beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It looks so awesome.
I was convinced in my first weekend of playing it was going to be my game of the year. And just for me, it just didn't hold up through me to the end. That was definitely one game that by the end I was ready for it to finish.
Yeah, me too.
but in terms of like technical prowess, from the controller to the graphics to the performance, honestly, it has no equal. They absolutely kill it with this game. They're like maybe Forza. It's the only thing that can like sit on that pedestal up there with them. In terms of just delivering on that raw performance. I mean, it's a next gen showcase for sure.
Yeah, and it uses the DualSense pretty good too.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
almost forgot about
really
that.
my
does.
favorite use of the DualSense. Yeah.
The way that like different types of button presses on the triggers
Yep.
do different shots is fantastic. So
I again, I definitely didn't think the riff mechanic was as much as it wanted to be, but I felt like the game just got really, I don't want to say repetitive, but just kind of samey about halfway through to the end. It was just kind of a lot. It was like more of the same. It was a lot more of the same.
You're
Whereas
just shooting
previous,
stuff. Yeah.
whereas previous Ratchets, I felt like had a lot more adventure, and I think that's it for me. But again, I don't mean to throw stones at it. It's on my honorable mentions. It just misses the cut for me as well. I was sure, like I think I'm telling you, I think I could find tweets. I was sure it was my game of the year.
Yep.
Like the first night I played it, I was like, "Oh my god, it's incredible!" Like for that alone, it's worth like you should if you own a PlayStation, you've got to play it for that.
Yeah.
Even for that first taste, like it definitely requires playing. So it's
I
very good.
always find the game gets samey conversation very interesting because I feel like that's just video games.
It can be. It's going to differ person to person. It's just how much are you, like how
Able
much
to
are you
handle it.
how much are you liking the loop, right?
Right.
I remember
think for me, the
distinctly.
story pulled me through.
Like I remember distinctly having this conversation with Jace on Twitter. Maybe it was Bad Day, where for me, about maybe 60 or 70% of the way through, like for the rest of the game, you end up just fighting a lot of the same enemies, which is something that can be similar in games. But I feel like, especially with platformers, they'll vary it up with different biomes, different levels, different. It's not just throwing more of them at you. I distinctly remember at the end, you're literally fighting like 10, 15, 20 of the same people. They just start coming in waves, and you're like, come on, guys, we could have like done something else for like some mini bosses or something. Like we could have switched this up a little. But that's for me. If you were really into it, you wouldn't have cared. But for me, I was just wanting. To me, it just again it felt like I've already done this.
How'd you like those Chozo soldiers at the end of Metroid Dread and fighting those bosses over and over?
Right. Exactly. So you can see this is a running theme for me. Okay, so 2 hours in. We're almost out of here, but I've got some superlatives that we need to hand out because I feel like it's really good to do this every year. So first and foremost, let's talk about any games that we didn't play, because I always feel like it's anytime you do like your favorite games or game of the year or whatever, I think it's important that you let people know what you didn't get to. If they're sitting there yelling in their car because nobody mentioned their favorite game, maybe it's because we didn't play it. So I'll start and I'll say that the games that are on my list that I didn't get to this year are Deathloop, Age of Empires 4, Returnal, Tales of Arise, Back for Blood, and the Mass Effect Legendary Collection. Those are games that I just didn't play this year. They just didn't fit the calendar. Rebecca?
So I need to finish Eastward. I didn't get a chance to really dive into that game yet. I need to get to Mass Effect Trilogy, which I own but haven't opened. Death's Door, clearly. And apparently I need to also need to add Ratchet and Clank and Psychonauts.
Death's Door is golf story worthy, Rebecca.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that video game book club with Yumi and Capri next month and do it. And then I just recently bought Chicory: A Colorful Tale. I was gonna get that on PC, but then it came to Switch, so I'm gonna get to that one soon too.
Nice. Dev?
Yeah, for me, it's really just Deathloop. That is the only game that I played like the first maybe hour of and just never went back to it. I don't remember what came out afterwards, but I just never got back to it. But everything else that I wanted to play this year, I actually played and played a good amount of. That's the only one that I just didn't quite circle back around to. So at some point, I will have to do that.
GB?
I just narrowed it down to 5 games. Halo Infinite, Tales of Arise, Age of Empires 4 as well, Bravely Default 2, and Neo: The World Ends With You. Those were like 5 games like very excited for. I just did not have the time to get into those games this year.
Haley?
Kenna and Death's Door.
Thanks. Delvin?
Too many to name, but the main one I think is Metroid Dread. I didn't get as much as I wanted to get into that game, but I am going to get into it. Well, one reason because my son just took it from me. He just started playing it. And then by the time he gave it back, I was like, I already got a whole bunch of stuff to play. I'm stuck into right now, so I'll play it when I get a chance. But yeah.
That's one of the best things about the holidays, right? Everybody gets a little time off and catch up.
Yeah.
So next we're going to talk about our biggest disappointments of the year. Games that just didn't hit for you, rub you wrong. I'd feel remiss if I let anybody go before me, so I'll start. And I will say that obviously my biggest miss of the year was Mario Golf. Close second to that one is Resident Evil Village. That one hurts a lot. I've been a diehard Resident Evil fan for as long as I can remember. Literally, when I think of my earliest beginnings as a video game player, I think of sports games, Zelda games, Mario games, and Resident Evil games. Like these are like the base of my video gaming history. And for me, not just to not like a Resident Evil as much as others, I legit didn't like Resident Evil Village.
I liked it, but I
Stopped
see why you
playing.
didn't
Like
like it.
just didn't like. I was like, this is just not what I want from a Resident Evil game at all. And then Mario Golf. God, I couldn't have been over the moon for this. I knew it was coming. I told everybody it was coming. It did in fact arrive, and it is fine. It's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's a fine game. It's just not anything close to what I wanted from the Mario Golf series. After loving the one on 3DS for so much, I played the one on 3DS for like 7 years. I have Destiny amounts of hours into Mario Golf 3DS, like just insane amounts of time into Mario Golf 3DS, and Mario Golf on Switch just doesn't meet that standard. Quite frankly, it just doesn't. It doesn't mean it's not fun. As a casual golf experience or a game with friends and stuff, it has value. But it's just not the game that I think diehards would expect or want from it. And it was a giant miss for me. I wrote down a couple more, but I want to save it after I hear everybody else's. So, Rebecca, do you have any misses?
Yes, it was Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl.
Oh, I was hoping somebody might bring this up.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was Pokemon. It was glitchy as heck, and it was fine.
That was a long sigh. Oh my
It
goodness.
froze on me, which I've never had a Switch game do, let alone a Pokemon game. I've never had a
Yeah.
Pokemon game do it here. It completely froze on me.
I didn't feel like doing one of the puzzles in the gym, so I just glitched my way to the gym leader.
It was interesting. When I first played it that first weekend, kind of like Ratchet, I was sure, like, and I'm not even like, I actually might not go as far as saying I'm not even sure if I disagree with this. My initial take from like my first 3 gyms in, this is definitely the best Pokemon game on Switch. Like in my opinion, I was like, this is way better than the other ones. And then I got through, like, I think I got my 6th gym badge, and then Jack started playing, and I just quit on it. There's no real reason. It wasn't that I wasn't liking it anymore. It's just like I kind of had my fill. I had my taste of Pokemon.
I feel like Gen 4 was really slow in the when it originally came out, and I think they moved the pendulum way too far in the other direction, because I used one Pokemon throughout the entire game until it got to the Elite Four. That just
So
how
did Jack.
over leveled and overpowered. I used one, and then by the time I got to the Elite Four and I couldn't beat the Elite Four with one Pokemon, I'm like, okay, I guess I better like train some Pokemon now. It just, I mean, I like some of the things they did with it, but
Now that you say that, here's a crazy thought. This just entered my head. I spent a good amount of time early building a team of Pokemon that I liked. I kind of got them all pretty early. Maybe they had something to do with it. I kind of had my team set in stone by like the 3rd.
The balancing was all over the place, and like, I don't know, like, and it just, I didn't feel like there was more to do after I beat the game, and I just didn't feel like turning it back on and playing it more.
It's interesting you say that, because there was a part of me that wanted to. I'm glad that the reason I asked this earlier is because I was thinking about how quickly I just let it go, and I was wondering if it was the timing, like GTA just come out for me as well. But honestly, more and more I keep trying to give in to like these RPGs. I kind of felt the same way with the last Pokemon game, and I felt a lot of this way with like Xenoblade. I just wonder personally, and this is just personally, but with me, I'm just wondering if I'm just over it. Like I just don't know if I've got the time or the patience to do these things anymore. Like the things I just realize, like if a Pokemon game isn't doing it for me, I don't know.
Like the underground is such a cool concept, and like I liked trying it out and stuff, and I don't know, just I can't even explain what I wanted from it. Just not that. But I liked like, how they were, it was a faithful remake in a lot of ways. I liked that. I liked that they added the Pokemon following behind you.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I just
And I
didn't
love
really
the style,
feel
and
like
it felt
doing
old.
it
I was
again.
digging it, but I left it.
That was my disappointment.
Okay. Dev?
I got nothing.
Oh,
I didn't have any
that's
games
good.
disappoint me. I
That's
don't know. I'm
good.
super
Dev,
picky with my
Grand
games.
Theft Auto.
No, that didn't disappoint me really. It was pretty much
Huh.
what I expected. It's still Grand Theft Auto.
Okay. Garrett?
Cool. It's not really a huge disappointment. Just kind of, I enjoyed it less than what I did, and that's Persona 5 Strikers.
Oh, good
I,
one.
yeah. I mean, it was a little bit long in the tooth. Of course, if any Persona game, it's a
Yeah,
little
of
long,
course.
but
Yeah.
for this gameplay, it's just so repetitive, and
Yep.
it's just like, okay, let me mash the buttons over and over again. I wanted to see the story more. It was just a
I
lot
wanted
of
a
side stuff in there.
Warriors Persona experience, and I
Yeah.
got a Persona Warriors experience. Like,
You
I got
you
the
got the
opposite of-
Persona game Warriors Edition.
Yeah,
type
I
of
got the
game.
opposite of what I was thinking. I wanted
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors Persona flavored,
Yeah.
and we got
Right,
Persona
and
5
you did not get it.
with Warriors combat.
You got Persona 5 the sequel, yes. But yeah, I mean, like I went through it. I enjoyed the characters in there. It was just a little bit too long and a little bit too, yeah, a lot of side quests, a lot of busy stuff in there. So yeah, didn't care for it as much.
Haley?
Nothing really except, and this is a small gripe really. Icky Island. I just for Ghost of
Oh, I
Tsushima.
liked Icky Island.
I did not, but again, I had a mental health reason not to like it, so it's like
Okay.
a small gripe. So, I honestly I had to stop playing. Like the whispers from her were spiral, so I couldn't do it.
I got you. Delvin?
You know, y'all biting y'all tongue. I'm finna call it out. 12 minutes. Did not
I
like it.
mean,
Didn't play it. Didn't disappoint.
yeah, I didn't play it, but I heard about the twist, and that's about all I'm gonna say.
I beat the game, and I was waiting for this game for years. They announced that game, I want to say at least 3 years ago. Like I was watching that game before they like announced the actual famous actors in the game. So I was like super excited for it when they said it was going to be on Game Pass, all this good stuff. And when I played, I'm like, ugh, this is convoluted, overcomplicated. And when I got to there, I'm like, that's the ending. I was like, I was so underwhelmed by it. I just didn't like it at all. It was just like, okay, that's what they're doing with this story. And another thing I didn't like about it, the fact that there were moments in the game where the game would just, I guess, would break, quote unquote. Like you do what they want you to do, and if you press the wrong button after you do what they want you to do, it was just, oh, nope, you messed up. Like that's not how that works. And with storytelling games, story-based games, you have to get those moments right. And for me, it didn't get the moments right that mattered to me. So I'm like, ugh, I don't like it.
I don't know what the twist was for this game, and we don't have to go into that for spoilers, but the concept of this game really interested me, and I was surprised that it was so split. Like, I know people who loved this game and loved the ending, but then there's a whole other side of people who were like, oh man, this was so good until that happened. I don't know what it is, but should I not play it?
Try it. You may like it. I thought it was okay throughout the game, and then the ending itself was like, the ending didn't hit it for me. I know some people like it, but I was just like throughout the game, I found myself finding things I didn't like about the game. Like there's certain elements of the game where you do certain things the right way, because you have to do certain things a particular way to progress the story. If you don't do it that exact particular way, if you alter in one little step, it messes it up, and you have to start back over from
That's
that
why I
same
didn't like
loop.
it.
Yeah, and that
was the
kind of
thing
broke
that really
me.
bothered
Yeah, that
me.
sounds annoying.
It is annoying because with a game with a premise like this, you'd want it to be discoverable in multiple ways to reward you for thinking of different things. But this game doesn't. It basically punishes you until you follow the exact steps that they want you to follow.
You nailed it.
So
That's-
once I learned that, because I went into it blind, like I'm just going to figure this out on my own. And then once I got stumped and looked up a guide, I was like, well, what the hell was I trying to do?
How would you ever figure that out, right?
I might as well just have followed the guide from the get-go and save myself a lot of time.
Exactly.
Yep.
It feels like a game that you'll be playing for a long time unnecessarily, unless you know exactly what you have to do and how you have to do it.
I wrote down some other ones I didn't know if you guys would think of, but I thought I'd jog everybody's memory. I definitely think that Balan Wonderworld probably is a leader
That game
for
was
worst game.
garbage.
I never.
I
Yeah.
never
We
thought that
knew
was
it
going to
since
be
the
good.
beginning.
That's real bad
Yeah,
for a
that
lot of
was
things.
not a disappointment because I didn't think it was going to be good.
Looked
Other
like
ones,
a joke from the beginning.
I'm actually interested. Outriders.
I heard
People
it was
got
okay.
into that game and then dropped it
It-
like a bad habit.
Yeah,
was
because
okay.
it was the end of it. There wasn't
Yeah, you were
like
done.
this super long loop. It was just a story game. So once you
Okay.
beat the story, unless you really were trying to max min for in-game loot that it didn't do anything, that was it.
Ryan. Oh, so here you go. I'm not alone.
Yeah.
The other one that I wrote down, Biomutant. You guys remember that game?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
Came
just
out.
That was okay.
Didn't
came
kinda
out
filler.
and went away.
Kind of filler, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention it. GTA Trilogy. I've really enjoyed my time with GTA Trilogy the last couple of weeks. I've been playing Vice City and having a lot of fun. But boy, regardless of how excited I was for this announcement, nobody would have thought that this game would have released the way that it released, right?
I will never forgive Rockstar.
Nobody ever thought that was going to be the case. Who hurt you
Destroyed your
worse,
fantasy
Rockstar or
score.
Jeff Keighley?
Rockstar.
Oh, come on. Why'd you have to bring the Jeff Keighley thing up?
Rockstar.
Come on.
Okay, so let's get into probably the most fun part of the show every year before we close, and that is our most anticipated games of 2022. Now you can
Gonna
tell
be
us
a good year.
a list of games or just your general feelings or anything like that, and I would like to start with at least backing up what Rebecca's going to say, and I'm going to say this. I've had a rough go of it with Switch for the last probably I feel like 18 months, and I am really stoked for what Switch has to offer coming up. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. And here's the deal. Rumors aside, like you can have all your rumors and rumor all the games that we know that are coming, that are on the calendar now, I'm already excited for. We're getting Mario Rabbids 2. We're getting this weird
Yes.
Kirby game. We're getting Splatoon 3. Like, I'm so excited.
Even
I don't know
if
what this
some
Sonic
of these
game
get
is.
played, there's
I'm gonna-
still going to be lots.
I'm going to play this Sonic game. I'm playing Bayonetta 3. I'm getting Fall Guys on Switch. Like, there's a lot for me to already love with Switch, and those are like guaranteed things that are going to happen. If we get a Donkey Kong game, if Breath of the Wild finds its way, or a Zelda port or anything else, like, I have the feeling so this past week we had the Switch's year in review thing that came out, right? You go to the website and you fill it out. My Switch time was cut in half from a year ago. I played my Switch 50% less than I did a year ago. And that makes sense to me. I'm thinking of this past year that was. But I feel like looking forward, I feel like that's going to go back up because I'm very excited for what Switch has to offer in a major way. Advance Wars, I didn't even mention Advance Wars. Like I'm so excited for Advance Wars. So hopefully these games hit better than Mario Golf did. But I feel like they will, actually. I think for so many ways, I think they will. And Mario Rabbids was it's still one of my favorite games on the platform. So I'm very excited for the sequel. In other games, I've got Dying Light 2. Got I don't know. I don't think Hellblade is this year, right? But
I don't
Yeah,
think
it
so.
doesn't have a
Hellblade.
date,
I'm excited. We've got Saints Row. Got Lego Star Wars coming.
Lego
I've
Star
got
Wars, yeah.
Horizon. Sony says we're going to play God of War at some point next year.
I don't know
Like,
about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I if I had to guess, I think God of War and Zelda get delayed to 23. And here's the thing, totally fine with that.
Yeah, it's
calendars
still
that
going to be
they-
an awesome year.
Yeah, the calendars that we have currently already seem full.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Who
and-
needs a whole calendar when everything comes out in February?
In first
True.
quarter,
Pretty
too.
much.
Like, I none of this stuff, like, only one thing got pushed back, and it was Saints Row. And everything else is still where it is. And it's like, wow, we're really doing this, huh?
And then you think of I said this quickly, so I'll get through quickly, but on my indies list, and I think for the most part, all of these have a good chance of being out this year. Maybe one: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Oxenfree 2, Fall Guys, Endling, River City Girls 2, She Dreams Elsewhere, House of the Dead remake, Weird West, The Last Night, Ollie Ollie World, Blood Bowl 3, the WWE and the AEW games, golf games. We got them coming from 2K and EA. Curse the Golf, Evil Dead the game, and the Callisto Protocol. You had all of those games with the games that I've already mentioned that are already announced. These are games that are already announced for this year. And then you throw in some surprises, and I'm stacked. Like I'm seriously legit have a list here of 30 or 40 games that I plan to buy between the end of the year, and I'm very excited. Very excited. So
It's a lot of games.
Rebecca?
Well, Breath of the Wild 2 obviously would be my most anticipated. I hope it comes out next year, but I'm not holding my breath. Splatoon 3, I'm so excited for. I did not think that this game would exist on the Switch, but I love Splatoon so much and I'm super duper excited for it. Sea of Stars got its Switch announcement, which it is slated for holiday 2022. I think it might get delayed to 2023, but if it does come out, I'm super excited. Shout out to Yarden Angel, who pre-ordered me a physical copy. Definitely gonna play that on Switch. Like Donnie, I'm excited for Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, which we were supposed to be playing already, but it got delayed. But that's okay, because I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I feel like it's either going to be like the game we've all wanted or like a garbage, like dumpster fire of a game. So
I
I'm
hope.
cautiously optimistic.
I yearn to listen to that Shack, and I want you guys to will me into it. But right now, I have zero desire. Like,
zero expectation.
Nothing that they have shown. I'm like, yeah, no.
I'm hoping that we're wrong. We'll see.
we're both cautiously optimistic about this one. Ugh.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Can you believe that I'm putting a Kirby game on my most anticipated?
Kirby!
I'm not even a Kirby fan. Like, I like Kirby. I don't play the games, but I am intrigued by this. I want to try it out. Blossom Tales 2. I loved the first Blossom Tales on Switch, and it's getting a sequel. It's like a Zelda 2D, like it's a top-down. Devin, try it out. And I'm excited.
Is it coming to something other than Switch?
Yes, PC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remind me of that one again.
I will. You can play the first game on PC as well. It's very good. And then the Life is Strange Remastered collection, which I will get it on the Switch.
Is Donnie
directing to you, Dev? Yeah, he's muted.
Yes.
I do apologize. I'm having a chat going on in the other thing, so I'm kind of hopping back and forth.
All right, so yeah, my most anticipated game right now is probably Sifu. That game just looks awesome.
It looks great.
You give me martial arts combat, and I'm always here for it. In that game, with just the way you can counter and move, and like the little hands-on preview that they put out this past week or whatnot, it just got me that much more excited for it. So that is probably my most anticipated game for next year. But of course, I'm also super stoked for Destiny, the new expansion that comes out in February. Everything comes out in February. I think for Sifu comes out the same day as Destiny. I'm like, why would you do that?
Sifu Destiny's 22nd or 25th?
22nd.
Then yes, it's the same day.
Yeah, same day, exactly. So they just screwed me there. But I'm also really excited for Forspoken. I love big world open action games, and that thing looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Horizon, of course, Saints Row, I'm really excited for, and if God of War makes it, I will be very happy to play that as well. I don't have the 40 games Downey has because I just never do, but those are probably my most anticipated games. I don't even know what else is coming out next year.
Oh, right,
I just ain't paying attention.
Sifu got moved to February 8th.
Oh, sweet. Well, then
moved
I'll get to play that for 2 weeks before I play Destiny.
Dying Light. Oh my god!
I don't care about my Dying Light.
So excited! Can't wait.
I'll wait for Dying Light to go on sale for like $20 and then never play it like I did the first one.
Which, by the way, has a PS5 and Series X version coming, but who knows when.
Yeah, it'll come after the sequel. They're gonna release the sequel and then release the next gen version of Dying Light.
Which
of course they are.
Sense.
Of course they are. I've never hated to love a developer so much.
What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I have been screaming into the void about this dev for years, asking them for this develop. Like, they announced a Switch port, and we still haven't got a next gen version. I'm like, why just make a next gen version of the game? Here comes the sequel, which people have review copies of, and they announced we're releasing a next gen version of our game from 7 years ago.
People are playing Dying Light 2 for review.
What the hell are y'all doing over there? Like, who's making these decisions? You throw darts at dartboards? Like, none of this makes any sense.
All right, we should
Let's
let Garrett
throw some
go
stuff to the wall and see what sticks.
All right. So I got a few games in here. I won't explain like too much, but I'm surprised Rebecca didn't say the Sea of Stars.
I did.
Ooh.
Oh, you did? Oh,
She
okay.
didn't say that.
Never mind. Sorry. I'm very excited for that game too.
Yeah.
Very Chrono Trigger like. Triangle Strategy. Let's go. That's the actual name.
Yeah, it's weird.
These names
I'll
are
watch one of you two
ridiculous.
stream it because it looks cool, but I'm not playing it.
It is a cool
I
engine. though.
understand. I perfectly understand. Monarch is it's on my
Yeah.
radar. I'm gonna wait for reviews. But yeah, that's coming out in February. I don't know why. Horizon Forbidden West, of course. Mario Rabbids 2 is probably my most anticipated game of the year. Very, very
get that
excited
deal?
for that game. I got a deal way earlier. I had like
Okay.
a gift card and like extra money off or whatever.
Good man.
So that's pre-ordered, ready to go. And then Advance Wars. I played it on Retro Pocket for a good while, and I can't wait to play it on my Switch. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. I'm up next. First, and I'm going to go in order here. Life is Strange Remastered Collection on February 1st. Dying Light
Heck yeah.
2, February 4th. Sifu, February 8th. Horizon, the 18th.
Haley's not gonna sleep the month of February. So apparently,
Not
Yeah.
really.
Haley doesn't sleep as it is, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. I don't sleep, and I wish I did. I got a new bed, and I still don't sleep. Then in March, there's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Grand Theft Auto
yeah.
Expanded and Enhanced Edition.
that's actually one I'm not planning on getting.
Right. Yes, I know you've been playing it on PC. Saints Row as well. They say God of War's coming next year at some point, but I don't know. Gotham Knights. That one I'm excited for. Also excited for Suicide Squad, despite the fact that it's evil Superman again. But whatever. They say that's coming 2022, but I don't know because they've also got that Hogwarts game. Like WB has so many games next year, it's wild.
That.
Like, yeah,
Hogwarts
yeah,
game.
no.
Forgot all about that.
We're not getting into that right now because J.K. Rowling decided to be weird on Twitter again. So yeah, let's not get into that. And that's about everything big. Indie wise, just Oxenfree 2 right now. So
Cool.
Well, I'm only waiting for two games in particular besides the games you guys named, and both of you named the two games. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. I'm interested in. It looks cool, looks interesting, and I'm interested in Forspoken. Forspoken looks amazing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I want to hear what I'm gonna hesitantly hold back on that one, but I'm waiting to hear what you guys think of it.
It looks
That one
awesome.
can get me in.
Didn't you tell me, Dev, that's Unreal 5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it looks beautiful.
It was an Unreal 5 demo, kind of expanded out into the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like how it looks.
That
I
game
like
looks
how-
awesome.
Yeah,
It looks
I'm
great.
Super excited for it.
Gives me platinum vibes.
Yeah,
If you told me it was a platinum game, I'd believe you. Like if I had never seen it before.
I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Made two ones, yeah.
One more, last go around before we kick this off. One final time, at least for us on the PSVG. I'm not exactly sure. I think for Shaq too, right? I think for all of us, this is our final podcast
show
of the year.
Yep.
We'll be
Yes.
back on the 5th of January. So looking forward to having a couple weeks off. One game that's not announced that you're going to be super excited if it gets announced before the end of the year. Go, Rebecca.
Wait, what? Can you repeat
Before the end of 2022.
Yeah. One game that's not announced yet that you're going to be super excited if it gets announced. Like one
Wait, I
game
don't want to start. I need to think. Go the other way.
Dev?
Metal Gear Solid Remake.
Nice. I love it.
That'd
Garrett?
be good. Persona 4 Golden on Switch.
Ooh, that sounds
That would
plausible.
get me really, really excited. That would get me
Really?
really excited.
Infamous Collection, which based on rumors
That's never
might
gonna
actually happen.
Never going to happen. My answer is Fire Emblem. I think we're due for a Fire
Fire
Emblem.
Emblem,
game, and
yes,
I'm very excited.
definitely.
Fire Emblem game. Delvin?
Mine's a long shot, but I'm going for it. That Matrix Tech demo is actually a Matrix game they're working on.
Oh.
Okay, but
It's pretty hot.
Oh.
It could be good. But who would make it?
Yeah.
yeah.
don't care.
Well, I mean, Coalition worked
Whoever.
on it, but
Yeah, but it's not going to be the Coalition that are making a
Yeah.
Matrix game.
Not yet.
Back to you, Rebecca.
Oh, Why?
She's like, already?
What's fast? I don't know. I feel so like lucky because all of my favorite games have already been announced. Like we're getting possibly a Zelda, we're getting a Splatoon. Like what? Okay, it's not gonna happen. But if they announced a Mario Kart 9, that would be like an
Nice.
amazing.
That would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Like
I mean,
perfect.
Maybe they will.
I was listening to the Easy Allies podcast, and they were like, "What if Nintendo just shadow drops Mario Kart 9?
That would be
They could
amazing.
actually get away with that. They,
They
probably
really
could.
could.
I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's crazy either.
I don't think it's likely, but I didn't think Splatoon 3 was likely either.
Agreed. I would look at it this way. If Nintendo does move forward with next hardware, I think Mario Kart could be something they show.
Yeah, we need
Remember
it.
when they showed
Oh,
Switch?
Yes.
And they showed us a bunch of games that come out for a year or two? Mario Kart could definitely be one of those types of things if they show new hardware.
Ooh, the Chrono Cross remaster is another good
The
one.
Chrono Cross remaster is a good
Yeah.
one.
I don't expect Nintendo's ready to show new hardware, and I think that's why they hold Zelda, and I think that's why we don't see Kart.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I hope I'm proven wrong. I would love nothing more than to play Breath of the Wild 2. You guys, Mario Kart hurt me. I mean, Mario Golf hurt me. Mario Golf hurt me.
Golf, just like
I can't go that hard anymore. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. Let's wait
Well,
until we get a release date.
2022 is going to be an amazing year for games.
Hope so.
And I'm very excited.
it's gonna be great.
Hope so. I'm very excited. Well, that's going to do it for us this calendar year from PSVG, from all of us at the Nintendo Shack, the Xbox Empire, and XP, and Boris Video Games, and Play Some Video Games, and DLC, and everything that was in between. And we'll come after. We thank you all for hanging out with us. Chat, you were especially lovely tonight. Thank you for all the Merry Christmas wishes. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, a safe holiday, and a Happy New Year. And we'll catch you when we come back in 2022. Better than ever? As good as before? Slightly not as good as we were. Admirable.
One of those
We'll
things.
admirably be PSVG in 2022.
Well, we'll be here.
Setting the bar high.
That's it. That's it. So thank you so much. Go play some video games.